We are pumped to talk about some Florida State football. The 0-3 Noles set to take on Louisville this weekend, guys. We're here to break it all down. 2 hours, player for player. How the Noles are going to get their first dub this Saturday, right?
Got to control the line of scrimmage.
You think
so?
That's
the first thing. Maybe put pressure on the quarterback. Yeah.
This hour brought to you by our friends at Register Sausage, which you just heard. But we always want to say thank you to them. We want to say a special thank you to each and every one of our advertisers. I mean, a profound thank you for being part of what we do here on Seminole Headlines. My goodness gracious.
Better times are coming.
Well, it's impossible for them not to be better.
Just a 5-win, 6-win season.
So, I think in all seriousness, and by the way, yay, sausage!
And you can get their product, the fine andouille or assorted jalapeno cheddar. I'm not sure which is the best sausage to kind of drown your sorrows in. Maybe all of them.
Eat your feelings.
But the website is registermeats.com. You can have as much ordered shipped to your house as you'd like. They ship it in a ice box, basically. It keeps it fresh. And you can also obviously get it in your local grocery store if you live in central North Florida, up into Georgia and Alabama.
Yeah, there's nowhere to go but up, as we kind of joked about a moment ago. I think that's true. Now the question is, how long does it take to gain traction? Because it no longer is really much fun for any of us, I think, to sit around and gripe about, rightfully so, but gripe about individual moments in which the team fails or the coaches fail. There's plenty to go around. You have a bounty of examples where either coaches let players down or players didn't execute or whatever it might be. The bottom line is you're 0-3 and you haven't been particularly well coached. The personnel is lacking to say the least. Now you have injuries in areas where you simply could not afford to have any injuries. We see how quickly this just devolves into an absolute unmitigated disaster when a couple of your starters on the offensive line go down. And then you see the panic as a result, both from players and coaches. I think you see real panic where they're just trying to throw things against the wall, hoping something sticks, because there doesn't seem to be a real cogent game plan week to week right now, or an identity at the very least for what they want to be. And so we try to talk about, I think, baby steps, because it doesn't do you any good every week to, again, come in and pound your fist on the table. We get it. They're awful. There's no doubt the coaches know they're awful, and they're desperate too, but you've got to find a way to gain some traction. And I think that only really works if you stick to something and if you have something you can go to. Question becomes, personnel-wise, who's that player at the most important position? Because neither quarterback is really giving you anything at this point.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. Like, the one thing I felt very confident about is no matter who won the quarterback job, it would be an improvement over a year ago. If it was Jordan Travis, certainly he would be better today than he was a year ago. I think he's going to be better than Jordan Travis was a year ago, or James Blackman. So no matter who won it, I thought the quarterback play was going to be better, and that was really one of the most encouraging things coming into the season. It hasn't happened, probably for a variety of reasons, but I think at the end of the day, the coaches have to accept some responsibility for, I think, mismanaging this situation. And they've had some tough situations in terms of, McKenzie wasn't available part of preseason, then Jordan wasn't available a little bit last week, and so they've had to juggle some stuff. But what they did, especially this past game, and really in the Jacksonville State game, it doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. And you can play two quarterbacks if it works. If it doesn't work, it just looks like buffoonery. Yeah,
it looks desperate. It looks like uncertainty. It looks like confusion. It looks like, hey, quote unquote, we're going to ride the hot hand, but neither guy has been any good. Well, that's the bottom line to Ira's point. I mean, look, McKenzie Milton, bless his heart, that's a great story. Doesn't look like he can throw the ball real effectively right now for a variety of reasons. His receivers aren't very good, and they can't pass pro. Secondly, his arm isn't good. Then you look at Jordan Travis. So you say, well, let's just run him. Let's just get a guy out there and we'll utilize his legs. Well,
that ain't it.
Yeah, it ain't it because he's hurt. Always.
Well, I don't know. He's hurt now, but I don't know that he was hurt to start that game. And they call basically when he comes into the game 3 straight runs that net, 3 yards, and then they punt. He does it, and there was a play early when Jordan Travis was in the game where it was a read play and he pulled it out, and it's him on the edge just with one tackler. And if he gets by that guy, it may be a touchdown. It's at least a 30-yard gain. He gets a 4-yard gain out of it.
And Jordan in 2020 gets a touchdown.
That's the point. He's not healthy, I don't believe.
But he
doesn't look like he wants to run either.
That's the thing. It doesn't look like the same guy as last year.
Would you? It's been beaten out of him.
Maybe, yeah. And so with that in mind, you're like, okay, well, they keep talking about these different skill sets that these guys have. Number one, Travis is throwing the ball better than Milton.
Yep.
And Milton is running the ball. Like Travis has run for 1 first down this entire season. Milton's run for a few at least. The fumble at the goal line notwithstanding, he's at least made a few plays with his feet. I don't know that Jordan's made any other than the throw to Parchment in the Notre Dame game. I don't know that he's made any plays with his legs. And it's like, well, then what do you have here?
Well, and then that's my biggest complaint about the hot hand thing was McKenzie got one drive.
How about like the least cold hand?
Well, he got one drive and Jayshon fumbled.
Yeah.
And then you go to Travis, and then Travis really wasn't doing anything. But then McKenzie's next drive, I don't think he did anything wrong again. It just didn't go anywhere. Then you go back to Travis, and I think that's the drive where they scored. But that was all Trayshawn Ward. I mean, if McKenzie had been in there, they scored on that drive. They had a couple of good runs, and then Trayshawn had 2 huge plays to get that scoring drive. Then it became Jordan Travis's game. Again, man, you're throwing stuff against the wall here. But McKenzie Milton, from watching him at UCF, and I'm not saying he's the answer, but from watching him at UCF, he is a guy that gets hot over time, or he figures it out. He's not a guy. He wasn't at UCF. He wasn't a guy that played great for 4 quarters.
Yeah, he could be bad for a while.
I just don't think this one series and then go to Jordan for 3 series and then go back to McKenzie. I don't think that has any chance of working.
Part of the problem, I think, and this is where you're betwixt and between.
Oh,
I think they think, obviously, when they chose McKenzie Milton to be the starting quarterback, they removed the or and all that, and they put him out there. He was going to be their guy, and he's their guy again listed this week. All right, now you are now dedicating yourself to a certain way of playing the game. You can't then, to Ira's point, if things don't go well early, pull him in favor of another guy, and then because what does that tell you about what you did during the week? What did you rep during the week? What was your game plan?
That's what I brought up on Wake Up Warchant. Is like they go in each game with a script, and I assume they said they were going to alternate those first couple of possessions. So Milton had his script, Travis had his script. Well, after Jashawn Corbin fumbles on the second play, can you not?
It should have been
improvise
Milton
and be like, hey, whatever we had for play 3 for you, McKenzie, that's going to be the first play of this next drive. Like, why then is it all of a sudden, okay, you don't get a drive anymore? What if he had thrown, what if McLean had busted that catch for a 60-yard touchdown? Milton then doesn't play the next series because he just threw a touchdown pass. Like, sometimes the game dictates what you do, and they had to have a script for both guys, and then they just punt on it. That, again, when you're talking big picture, because Lord knows this isn't like 2014 when you can be like, okay, well, this didn't make any sense, and this is why it was a close game. They still won, but they're making mistakes.
Well, that's the problem with this. This team is like a 68 Olds jalopy that's just springing oil, water's flowing everywhere, and we're complaining about the radio.
Right.
Like there are so many other problems. But I was
going to say the way the radio is being administered isn't the right word, but tried to be fixed is what's concerning about the future. Right. That's what I was kind of trying to say is like some of these decisions don't bode well for future decisions because they're so baffling. It doesn't mean they lost the game because of this one play or that one play, but when you're trying to project what this coaching staff could be,
this is where the frustration comes from the fan base because they don't see anything that you can hang your hat on, and they see questionable decisions. They see panic, and nobody wants to see the guys that are in charge panicking. I also think, that one of the more unforgivable things that happened early in this game is you can't pull Corbin there and not put him back out there for a while. That's crazy. You can't do that. He's probably your most reliable player. I don't understand what they're doing with
in the time. I thought maybe he got shooken up on the play, but I went back and watched it. He was totally fine.
No, it's a great hand on the ball. He got unlucky.
And I'm president of the Trayshawn Ward fan club, but from a player relationship psyche standpoint.
No, that's a good kid. Yeah. You can't do that. In fact, if you're trying to instill confidence again and again, you sit him right back out there and you hand him the ball.
Well, unless you're doing it across the board, like anytime an offensive lineman false starts, you yank him off the field.
Yeah, that's the way to play football.
Sure, but if that, at least it would be universal across the board.
Well, the lack of consistency and the lack of any sort of identity, all of these things lead to what we feel from a distance is panic from a coaching staff, and they give you evidence of it each week. And that's why you say in the future you worry. I will say this, it is pretty rare. And I got asked today, what is the poison pill that Florida State football took to be mired in this kind of nonsense that we see every week? And I said, how much time do you have? Because it was a radio interview. I said, you can't, it's not a player. It's not a singular coach. It's not a singular administrator. You've got to go back a ways and document a series of missteps that have led to this really, really gruesome scenario and situation Florida State finds itself in. Because here's what we now know. This is not going to be okay this year. it's probably not going to be okay next year. They have got a long way to go before they're even average, because they have to. You can't go every week and say the same thing for 4 years. They can't block. But that's where we're at. They can't block. And where's the cavalry coming for that offensive line right now? Now, you might be able to get slightly better, but it's not happening real quick. So you don't have a starting quarterback that you feel great about. And I'm sorry to say to the fans, Chubba Purdy doesn't look like he's the guy right now either.
Hey, we'll see though, right?
We'll
see.
So
if he gets a chance.
You'd have to call the game differently.
You'd have to call the game differently, and you'd have to call very specifically. Yeah. But maybe that's the option you do. But point is, they're not going to block real well for him either. You don't have dynamic receivers. Your tight end room is non-existent.
The jury's still out on that, Jeff. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. You don't have dynamic receivers. Your tight ends are non-existent.
Other than that, though.
So, I mean, fellas, that you better hang your hat on something. Listen, Clausen did this at Wake Forest. Since we just lost to Wake Forest, let's use him. Remember when they had the worst offensive line in football 3 years ago, whatever it was?
It was
just steady taking ass beatings.
14, right?
It was year. Yeah. Oh, was that far along?
Well, that was the only team that 2014 Florida State team, that's the only team that blew out. It was like 43-3. I think Featherston had like a big game.
I remember
they couldn't do anything.
Yeah, we were just sitting there watching, going, "What is he doing? Trying to run this offense with that offensive line."
But bless his heart, he stuck to it and said, "This is what we are. We're going to do this, and this is our identity." And you know what? If we got to punt, we got to punt.
The difference with that team is that I would assume all those guys were very young up front. On that Wake Forest, and he's like, "This is what we're doing." Man, I know Norvell said the other day that they have a young offensive line, buddy. 4 of those guys can rent cars. 4 of those guys, their insurance is going down because they're 25 or 28 or whatever. Like, you got 5th-year seniors, 6th-year seniors. Bayvion's been here, I think, since the Clinton administration.
Yeah,
like,
man,
they're not good, but they're old. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so at some point, just start playing the young dudes.
I don't know. You can ruin guys that way.
I asked Atkins that today. I was like, at what point, if you've got a healthy, vigorous young player, but maybe doesn't know everything. I don't think I said vigorous, but I'm just hoping. Phrasing. I'm projecting.
Yeah.
But if you have some young guys that haven't been beaten down and maybe don't know everything yet, at what point do you? And he said, "Man, it just comes out. It's out here at practice. We're going to give those guys chances, and then whoever gives us the best chance to win, that's who we're going to play." And I know that from a media standpoint and a fan standpoint, you look at the guys out there and say, "Okay, those guys aren't getting it done. Put somebody else in there." But sometimes there's no good answers. And I guess that's where I'm kind of getting to with this football team is we all want to blame coaches, and I'm at the top of the list. And to your point earlier, they have made a lot of bad decisions that have made it easy to criticize them.
Yeah, they give it ammo.
Their handling of certain situations, game time, and even just in preparation, have been easy to criticize. So that's what we're doing. But at the end of the day, it comes down to guys playing. I mean, those guys are out there. You can Jarvis Brownlee, whoever can make a play on the ball. A receiver can beat the DB for a catch. I mean, at some point, guys have to make plays.
So here's where, now moving forward, we're going to watch very carefully, because Dillingham all but admitted this, yesterday. He is saying that teams through 3 games have decided that no matter their normal scheme, they're going to come out of it and they're going to play press man and say, your receivers aren't good enough to beat my corners. So I'm going to be free to do with the other defenders whatever I want. I don't have to play off. I can do anything I damn well want because your guys aren't good enough to beat my guys. And I know something else. I know from looking at the film that your offensive lineman can't block my defensive lineman. Good luck with that, Dilly. Let's have some fun today. Let's see what you can do. None of your receivers can get open. You don't have tight ends that are at the dam, and you can't block. Call whatever you want to call. That's your ass. So it is up to him from here on out to understand that tendencies don't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you see them doing defensively during the week of preparation. They're going to come out of it because they're going to say you're garbage. And from there, you have the unenviable task of trying to figure something out. But you do have to figure something out because you can't stop coming to work and you are paid handsomely. So at some point, you got to decide to be something, and it may very well fail. But you got to be something. I don't think you can just decide week to week let's try this one. Yeah, let's try this. Because that's just, there's
that ain't getting it done either.
No, that ain't going to get it done. And maybe none of it gets it done. Maybe straightforward, you don't win more than 2 games because you're just simply not good enough to win more than 2 games.
Look, man, you cannot convince me that Florida State doesn't have better offensive players than UAB. You can't convince me of it.
Okay, so you're talking about a singular moment where they treated the game like a scrimmage. We're not going to relitigate that. I agree. They treated that game poorly. But Wake Forest is
going to give up 28 points to like Syracuse or somebody else. You cannot convince me that Florida State doesn't have equal talent to Syracuse.
On the offensive line, I bet I could.
Maybe.
I bet I could. Now, this is another why question. Why are we still having the conversation through 3 coaching staffs about an offensive line that can't block? It is mind-numbing to watch largely different groups of people come in and have to suffer through the same problems.
They did, and this is the tough thing about this situation is you've got problems with talent, you've got problems with decisions by the coaching staff, and then you've had some crappy luck. I mean, not having Robert Scott and Maurice Smith is a big deal.
It's a damn big deal.
Yeah. So
that's how thin they are.
Yeah,
though.
And then right after Dante Lucas left the team. Not that he was great.
So 3 of the 7 guys you were counting aren't even there.
Weren't available. Yeah. So that's man.
But again, going back to Jeff's point, I don't think you can just say that. Okay, the cavalry's not coming with the offensive line. It's not. Those guys might be good players. Like Robert Scott and Maurice Smith might be good players. I mean, you know what I mean?
No,
You can't just say, okay, this offensive line is going to suck in perpetuity. Some of those guys
but they weren't available for this game.
No, I know. Yeah. But as we move forward, you're talking about next year and the year after that. Those guys might be okay. The Schrader kid, if he gets healthy, they like
him a lot. Darius Washington,
but of course, Schrader got hurt.
Yeah.
Well, again, everybody they like. That's what happens. It's just this cycle.
It's a snake bite. It was a snake bite. It was Jimbo went to some crossroads.
I've lost my leg.
With the devil. He made a deal with the devil at some crossroads somewhere.
Green is set in.
But the problem for the coaches is those things. You can understand some of those things, and you can understand deficiencies of talent. You can understand maybe a quarterback getting hurt a lot, whatever. But that's where those decisions that have been so easy to criticize are killing them because we can all identify that. Like I can't tell you that you're not blocking up inside zone wrong. Like I don't know that. I can't tell you Alex Atkins is teaching bad technique or David Johnson's not teaching, but we can all see McKenzie Milton on a design run from 4th and 2 doesn't make any freaking sense. So
poor play call.
So that's the problem. Yeah. And then, the defensive call to end the Jacksonville State game. And so those things are killing them.
And you see what he's trying to do there on that Jacksonville State game. You don't want him to give that first down.
The fire is raging.
Yeah.
We're going to run over and pour mountains of gasoline on it here and see if we can't remedy the situation. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Barry knows cool. He's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows cool. You can put him to the test.
This is Tyler from Barano Heating and Air. This summer, you can save money and stay comfortable. Ask about our annual service agreement with no overtime charges ever. At Barano Heating and Air, we're always there for you. Online at baranoac.com.
Keeping you comfortable is what Barry does best.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
Hey guys, it's Greg Tish. It's summertime, it's grilling time. But with a grill that just won't light, you're just going to end up with the summertime blues. Yeah, blues and barbecue go hand in hand, but if you get a custom outdoor kitchen built from Hearth and Patio, you'll feel like a rock star every time those flames kick on. They also sell a full line of incredible high-end grills like Fire Magic, Blaze, and Broil Master, all designed to deliver the ultimate in beauty, performance, and durability. Everything you need to elevate your grilling experience can be found at Hearth and Patio. In fact, anything related to fire can be found at Hearth and Patio. Fire pits, gas lighting, indoor and outdoor fireplaces, wood stoves, and even custom-built pizza ovens. Go see for yourself. Check out their services and products online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com. That's hearthpatiotallahassee.com. Or give them a call, 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282. At Hearth and Patio, they keep the home fires burning.
New deals and new specials are now available at Jerry's Famous Cigar Shop. Each week, Jerry's will offer double Jerry's bucks on select featured cigar brands. You'll get 10 Jerry's bucks for every $50 you spend, plus standard box and Mucker member discounts. It's first come, first served, so don't wait. Curbside pickup is available at both Jerry's Cigar Shop locations, plus free UPS shipping on orders over $29. You can find all the great deals and specials at jerrycigarshop.com. That's jerrycigarshop.com.
Welcome to Tallulah Talk After Hours, your home for all things CBD. Tonight, we're talking about the benefits of CBD personal lubricants, CBD massage oils, romantic CBD scented candles, chocolates, and even CBD bath bombs. Did you know CBD lubricants can lead to increased sensitivity, resulting in longer and stronger experiences? What's left to talk about? Get yours today at Tallulah CBD on Market Street and now open in Betterman Crossings. Thanks for listening to Tallulah Talk After Hours.
When you need a plumber quick, how long is an acceptable time to have to wait?
Yeah, hey, it's the Millers again. Just calling you about our little plumbing problem.
2 hours?
Hey, we were hoping you can get here soon because the water is getting really bad. I mean, please hurry.
4 hours?
I know you said you were on your way, but, honey, tell the kids to drink water.
8 hours?
Don't worry about us. We're fine.
At M&L Plumbing, you'll never have to wait long for quality, dependable service, right when you need it. At M&L Plumbing, we listen to our customers, and our qualified technicians aim to achieve 100% customer satisfaction. So the next time you need plumbing work or repairs, think of the name M&L Plumbing, your local plumbing experts, commercial or residential. Give us a call, 850-575-9393, or visit us online at mndlplumbing.com. M&L Plumbing, for all of your plumbing needs.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage! Seminole Headlines is brought to you by Register Sausage, serving the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. To find a store near you or to buy directly from Registers, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com.
Oh, there it is. Registermeats.com. Time for me to talk.
We're on the air. Okay. Usually it says Seminole Headlines.
Yeah, nothing. All right. So here's the deal. We
Hold
were
on,
just
real
talking.
quick.
During
So
the break.
I want the people to know why we switched seats, because it's going to lead into something.
That ass kicking you took?
Yeah, I got in a bar fight at a Corner Pocket. I was kicking the crap out of the guy. So
And
he
one of his
hit me with a
friends
beer
hit you with a
bottle.
bottle.
Yeah. I had a skin cancer removed, and they did a lot of stuff with my nose. So now I look like I had to wear the hat.
And don't
I had
scare
to be
people.
off in the shadow.
Don't scare people. It was they caught it. Everything's
Yeah,
fine.
they did. They got it all.
Yeah.
But after the guy went in the second time and left the room to take it to the lab, his buddy, who was also a doctor, came in and is like, "Can I talk to you about Florida State football?" As I'm sitting there on the chair.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted to know, like what you were saying at the end of that last segment, like, why does it matter it doesn't seem to matter who the coach is. It's been 5 years of seemingly the program getting worse and worse. And Taggart had issues. Jimbo had issues at the end.
Oh, yeah.
And they don't seem like they ever get fixed. And he wanted to know, is it a snake bitten program?
Well, there's no such thing. But first of all, two things here. When you start over, which we all thought they should.
Yeah.
You are starting over and you lack continuity. And any of these programs that you've seen do that struggle. You don't see a lot of guys just suddenly, and there are exceptions. I understand you can pick an outlier, but it is very
It'd be
rare.
Cool if they had gotten an exception.
It would be nice.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Problems are different at each program, right? It could be a myriad things, but problems that exist in programs that are causing them to not achieve at the level that the fans want aren't the same across the board. Florida State has a unique set of problems. Now, some may be similar to others, but when one of your problems is personnel on the offensive line year in and year out, and then you start over, remember when Florida went 4-8 and had another 4-win season in there? I think they had 2 different 4-win seasons, that little stretch. I remember asking, now he's on the beat and he's a friend of ours, so I don't think you'll mind me saying, even though he works for somebody else, me and Chris Nee were talking one day, and I said, "Hey, man, let me ask you something, because I don't go on the road to cover recruiting.
I don't want to hear that name ever again. Not on Seminole Headlines. Get it out of your mouth."
Me and Nee were talking.
Okay.
And I said, "Chris, listen, just again, I'm not at these camps. I don't see these kids. How does Florida, the University of Florida, not have a single decent wide receiver over the last 4 years? That's during that stretch.
Right.
It's Florida. How do you not have a receiver?" And he said, "Well, if you pile years on top of one another, then think about the kids coming out that go through, let's say, their freshman, sophomore, junior years of high school, and they've seen Florida not have any sense of a passing game whatsoever. No receivers going to the league. No, they're not exactly lining up to kick down the door to go there, even with the promise of playing time, because they haven't seen the successes. And that just makes sense, right? So for Florida State, look at this putrid-ass offensive line and how long it's been this way across coaching staffs. If you're a top-tier offensive lineman, somebody that could change the fortunes of this group, would you ever look at Florida State?
They've got a bunch of offensive linemen committed.
They do currently. Yeah. We have to hope like hell they can keep them intact. The fear for all of us is that the way forward is with an influx of talent in the most important position there beyond quarterback. And we don't know that they're going to have the kind of season that gets those verbals to become signed.
But I also think that the problems for Florida State are there's just offensive line.
Of course not. Yeah. I'm naming one, though, specific to the fact that they can't block.
But, quarterback's as big as anything, and they haven't had a good quarterback since Jameis left.
That's correct.
DeAndre, that first year you could win with DeAndre that first year.
Yeah.
But when he came back, he wasn't, and nothing else has been. So that's a huge problem. Defensively, there's been personnel issues there, but I also think part of that is to the same topic. It's the turnover, the constant turnover. Because every time you would change coaches, you lose a bunch of players who transfer. You have kids that don't buy into the new regime, so you kind of wish they would have transferred. You're recruiting new players, but they're young. Then you have another coaching change. Willie brought in some guys that could probably play, but then those guys bailed.
They're all gone
when Norvell came in. So now, look, man, and I get it. Norvell has used the word young or youth more this week than I've heard him in the last 6 months.
It's like Leonard after a loss. Like, look, we're starting we got seven new guys out of 11. Yeah.
So, it's fine. I'm not going to begrudge him that, because the reality is that what this team is, and it's just a weird amalgamation of young players that they brought in
and mercenaries,
and then these transfers. Mm-hmm. And so that was always going to be a question: is how's that all going to mesh, and who's going to lead when you're in trouble? And I think, to me, that's their biggest problem right now is who's leading.
Well,
who. And that's, I look at a guy like McKenzie, and I've asked about McKenzie. I asked yesterday about how's he handling this? He's never gone through anything like this, and he comes in he's got this 1 year, and he goes out there and turns the ball over 4 times, and they stink it up against Wake Forest. How's he handling it? Can he lead anybody else? Because that was one of the big things you wanted him in the program.
You thought he could do, yeah.
So that's to me, and so to me that takes time, unless you hit the lottery. Sometimes a new coach comes in, and there's the pieces are in place, but that doesn't happen.
Well, and also the new signing period and all these different things that have happened, a confluence of events that we talk about has not helped new coaching staffs. But I would say, again, yes, quarterback's a problem, but it's a bigger problem when you can't block. So you see some average ass quarterbacks around the country having success because they can block up front and you can scheme around some of their deficiencies. You can't scheme around these deficiencies if you can't block.
Well, and that's where I think the Wake Forest game to me was so telling, especially without those two offensive linemen, because Wake Forest was asking them to run the football. They played 6 in the box the whole game, and Florida State just refused to try. They just, until later, they started running that misdirection thing. But really, and when I asked Dillingham, he said, well, honestly, we just couldn't block it. And it's like, dude, if you guys can't block a 6-man box.
They can't, though. They get beaten.
Then how people are like, what's your identity? How can you have an identity?
Well, you have to be willing to fail doing one thing and trying to get better at it week by
week. I guess
well,
just do the Clausen thing from 14. Just run what you want to run, no matter.
But the problem
is you're also at Florida State, where there's a million podcasts and there's a million fans and people care. At Wake Forest, literally, like Iris said,
they don't care.
On Sunday Night Smash. Sorry,
thanks for the plug.
I'm yelling at the mic.
That,
I didn't have a beer, but I was commiserating with you guys. Man, Wake Forest didn't. There were more Florida State fans there than Wake Forest.
There really were.
They
don't care. They don't care.
Yeah, they're like, wasn't this?
Well, that
cool,
just adds
Betty?
to your anger, but it doesn't change your situation. I agree with you.
It would be like if Corey's never picked up, he's never played chess in his life, and they just sits down with somebody who practices chess all the time and just kicks his ass.
Yeah, it's like in 9 moves. Is that checkmate? Now, what does that mean again?
What does that mean?
Your king can't move
when your girlfriend wins the office
like
pool.
Won.
Oh, exactly.
And
it's not to say that. Clausen, all respect to him and his staff, they've done a great job at that program, but nobody cares.
Right.
No, and that's a shame. That just adds to your woes.
But that's why when you're Clausen, you can have that tact that he had
you're somewhat in
14.
anonymity. But here's the thing: Florida State is now at a place where they can do the same. And what I mean is they're still going to get ripped. We're all going to talk about it because people do care. but you're not going anywhere. Mike Norvell knows damn well he is not being fired at the end of this year. Stick to something. Don't worry about any. I know we sound like every other coach. Don't worry about the outside noise. Don't worry about the clutter.
Well, you got to keep the circle tight.
Yeah,
right.
Keep the squares out of your circle. Yeah, that's another one.
But listen, it's true. You've got to figure something out moving forward that you can latch onto, buy into, and believe in, and then press on, knowing that it may not work week to week. You may not be good enough to execute whatever that thing may be, but find it.
Well, I'd take my chances with the backs.
Me too.
I mean, that's the thing. Like I get, okay, you can't block it up. So somebody's going to be coming free. At least one, maybe two guys are coming free. I'm taking my chances with these backs over those receivers and the quarterback
any day.
But here's the thing: we can just at some point I mean, again, I know this is reactionary. We're 3 games in. These receivers do not look like they're overly well coached. They do not get any separation. They do not have any ball skills at all. You see what I mean by that is, again, juxtaposed to Wake Forest. They had that kid, I don't know his name, but he made 3 or 4 third down catches in traffic.
Their possession receiver
with people on them. Yeah. Florida State doesn't have that or doesn't coach that. And they don't have anybody tough that'll go over the middle and get an 8-yard catch on 3rd and 6. Well, now, the quarterback might not put it where it needs to be anyway.
That's for starters.
But it sure would help if you could count on your receivers. And they don't. And they haven't for long time.
We got to go to break because we went long in the first segment. But one thing I will say, I think a fair criticism is, again, you brought in Parchment, but he's clearly not the answer. They're already giving up on him. And I think for good reason, by the way. So already that's a whiff. You can look, there are some areas where they succeeded in the portal, but it is vital that if you do identify areas of weakness, of which there are plenty on this team, that you attack it in the portal, right? How you got Dylan Gibbons and that's it? I mean, God dog, everybody. I mean, I would have had 18 transfer portal offensive linemen rolling in this bitch.
The problem is there's not that many, and then when there are good ones, there's good teams that want them.
Western Michigan might have a guard that wants to play.
That's funny you bring that
football.
up. I actually saw this. There was I was watching college football over the weekend, flipping around. There was a Western Michigan player they said had come in on the transfer portal. Dude was dominating. I was like, that guy right there is the best player Florida State has on the offensive line.
But if you're a one-year guy, you talked about how hard is it to recruit offensive linemen when you're bad on the offensive line. At least with freshmen, you can tell them, man, you're going to build this turn around.
Yeah, man.
This is what we're doing.
All right, we're going to a break. We're going to a break. Is that what we're doing?
Games up in
I thought you said we got to go to a break.
We're just going to rain.
Seminole headlines.
93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
The Tallahassee Police Department arrested 1 juvenile male after a fatal shooting that occurred on September 16th. The shooting happened in the 1500 block of West Tharp Street just after 2:30 a.m. The suspect, 17-year-old Kelsey Bruton, and the victim, who did not know each other, had a verbal argument at the victim's home. The victim reportedly went inside his home to disengage from the argument. The arrested suspect stepped away from the residence and fired multiple shots into the apartment, striking and killing the victim. Thousands of comic books and literature are nowhere to be found at their home at Florida State University's Strozier Library. As part of the Robert M. Irvin Jr. collection, most of the books were from the 1950s to the 1970s and could have gone missing anywhere from March 17th of 2020 to February 10th of this year. FSU said they do not have an official estimate on the missing books, but an expert had a look at the list and estimated the value could be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars range. The university has not specifically said if the comic books were stolen or not. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Mac & More Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at macandmoresystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. More clouds than sun this afternoon with scattered thunderstorms likely. High temperatures reach up to 88. Winds out the west around 5 miles per hour. Scattered thunderstorms again tonight. Lows dip down to about 73, partly cloudy. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Tomorrow, isolated thunderstorms likely. Highs level off around 86. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 88.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Greg Tish, Real Talk 93.3.
Hey, everybody, this is Greg Tish. Thank you so much for listening to Real Talk 93.3. Don't forget, you can check out me and Maddie Rowe every Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. on The Greg Tish Show. Wake up with a smile with The Greg Tish Show. How's that sound, Maddie Rowe? Is that a good promo for you?
That's good enough for me.
Is that good? Are we
It's
at
good for
30
everybody.
seconds yet?
Right about now.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3.
Seminole Headlines. In search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Yeah, we're back on there, Killer.
Sorry.
Everybody, keep it together.
Sorry. Talking over the voice guy.
Keep the main thing,
Right.
Corey.
Yeah. And also, you guys at home watching, first of all, we appreciate it. We'll get to headliner questions next hour. But you can sense our frustration. You can feel it. We're there with you. But now it's the time to be just sort of analytical and calm and straightforward. It's like when I don't know if there's a good example, but if you're married, there were moments in everybody's marriage, and maybe your ex-wife could attest to this,
maybe,
where the levels of frustration reach a place where nothing good is going to come from further yelling and screaming about the issue.
That's what I would tell her when my ADHD would flare up.
Yeah.
Like, look, I can't put the dishes in the dishwasher. My mind doesn't work like that.
Do it. I desperately would like to.
The doctor told you that.
There's nothing I would rather do than put those dishes in the dishwasher.
If I had my druthers,
but
they'd be in there.
But there's a butterfly.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, there's
and the game just started.
Yeah, I can't do it. I'm sorry.
That's not. I'm distracted again by the game or a Netflix special. But I would. So that's the whole. So that's the whole thing. Like, I mean, I don't. It doesn't do us much good to continue to just scream and yell. And if you're a fan and I get it because I do care immensely, but now is the time for that. We got to talk, guys.
Yeah.
We got to talk. We got to work through some. I can't imagine. And listen, they're all paid handsomely. Again, you know, they're not victims at this point. But man, I can't fathom what it is like for Mike the second he has to walk over to those microphones or Dillingham or anybody else and have to answer questions, knowing that this is a blank show.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that today, but I actually brought up to Aslan while we were watching practice. Like when I was a kid, my dad would get mad at me. And this is before I knew that I would get the same thing from my wife, but I remember this from my dad. When my dad would get mad at me, he would get on a roll and just start, and then why didn't you do this? And then look at your room, and then look at the
we can't have all that.
And I just thought to myself, man, if you're a head coach of a team with 100 players and 20 coaches and 30 support staff members, all the people that you liked 3 weeks ago, as he looks around the field now, how many of those guys do you think he likes?
Yeah, right now, I mean, I'm not even sure he likes himself right now. So I mean,
and his agent for telling him to come here.
Like, how big a smart Alec would you be? Like, I can't even imagine how I'd be in the coaches meetings. Like, oh, Alex, you're doing a bang up job with Brady Scott, man. You're crushing it. Thank you for that. You know, I keep getting told that you're one of the best offensive line coaches in America. Here's more proof. Kenny, I thought you were this protege, this wonderkin. You're the next big thing. Thanks for those 2 touchdowns, you big jerk, against Wake Forest.
I will say this, and people had asked, because one of the things I wrote about over the weekend was just about the difference between this situation and Willie's situation, because you are having people now saying, hey, you fired the last guy.
Well, you're not.
I know. But I was explaining why you're not going to. But one of the things, and I didn't explain it in the column, but I do want to give Norvell credit. That was one of the issues under the previous staff, was that the coaches hated each other. Willie did not foster a environment of camaraderie.
The coaches did not like him.
They didn't like him. He didn't like them. They didn't like each other. It was a toxic situation.
Yeah, that was
interesting.
interesting.
When that's happening in your coach's offices, imagine how that spills over to your team. This is different so far in that I do think they're all on the same page.
Yeah.
And I think they all want to get to the same
And what
place.
a page it is.
They're losing together. They're losing in lockstep.
Yeah.
They're singing Kumbaya with each loss.
And not pointing, look, man, pointing fingers and all that kind of stuff, that would make it worse.
No, at the end of the day, it's a very long rebuild, and we now know it's even longer than we had anticipated. And so you know what?
Just tired of it, man.
Yeah, well,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and it's not
been
going to
5 years of this. You know,
it stinks. It's like, I don't know.
Sometimes we got to take a 30,000 foot view, and this is what I always do. Like, I'm not good enough in the moment. Excuse me. I don't even know where the cough. I can't even find the cough.
The fake cough button.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, desperately
I don't know what happened.
Fake cough button.
You know, in the moment, I'm not really good about being analytical and being
it's always
measured.
after the fact, right? Yeah.
But and being measured about it, because when you grew up with this program like we did, and then we went through what we went through at the end of Jimbo, but we also right before that was a really bright, wonderful time.
Yeah, they won a national championship in 29 straight games.
We're now 5 years into SUP.
Yeah, remember that?
Yeah, it was incredible. That wasn't that long ago.
No, 8 years ago.
5 years into SUP. It's impossible when you really go up and look at it. You're like, I understand the fans are like, how is this program better? I get that the coaches get along. That's great. They still suck on Saturdays. Why?
Yeah.
Like, you look around the country, there are other second-year coaching staff.
Oh, sure. There are first-year coaching staffs who are doing it.
They're doing something.
But that gets back to what I'm telling you. Every set of circumstances is different.
And it would be hard to make an argument. It would be hard for Mike Norvell and his staff to make an argument that they're getting the most out of what they have.
No,
That's
correct.
the problem.
I think the deal is we've firmly established this coaching staff has done a poor job. Right. Like there's no doubt about that. But it's a little bit more nuanced than that.
It's a tough situation.
And they haven't made it better.
And they have not made it better.
I think they actually, if we're going to be critical, I think they really probably needed to have a little greater certainty during camp what they didn't have. I think they probably misplayed their hand a little bit, and then now they're rat trapping a little bit. I think that they thought they had a few more things than they actually did.
I agree 100%.
And now it is a stark reality that's hit them. Like, oh no, he can't play at all.
And I don't really even fault them too much for the transfer misses, because man, there's a reason those guys are in the portal. I mean, there's not a lot of sure things in the transfer portal, especially if you're Florida State.
Did you need to take that running back from Auburn?
You got a lot of work and practice today. He might be the answer.
Could you not have decided that we've got a couple running backs?
That's what you wonder is in like the kid at Arkansas that brought in that doesn't play, McClellan, and then Brandon Moore's not even on the team anymore. Like, did those takes keep other kids from getting here? Because you don't know, but those are the portals.
Yeah,
that's the decision you got to make.
I would say at least with a couple of those kids you just mentioned, from what I was told, was part of the reason they liked those kids was because of who they were. Same with the Brandon Moore kid from UCF. That getting more good, positive kids in your program.
But nobody said that about Parchment.
No, he was a guy that needed to make plays, and he's not making plays. He was on the field for 5 snaps.
Yeah,
Saturday.
6 snaps.
6 snaps on Saturday. So they may be moving on there. But the problem is, I mean, they're just
Burrell.
But then you're looking at, of the receivers they play. I mean, I think 3 or 4 of them are freshmen. Or
you're going to take your lumps, but take your lumps with them, and understand that you're probably not going to get a lot out of them this year, not only because they'll make mistakes, but your quarterback plays inconsistent and you can't pass pro. So that makes it tough for everybody to get in sync. But I would still, you're going to lose games regardless. I mean, I wonder how soon. Now, I'm not saying you just pull the plug on kids who have been giving you good effort and good leadership. What are you going to tell Jermaine Johnson that he's got to sit? That would be dumb.
I feel like Jermaine Johnson might make that decision for himself once we get to November.
I hope
that's the reality of college football in 2021.
Sure. But I do love that kid and Hardy plays. And I actually think they hit a few, obviously, on that defensive line. They should feel really good about that.
Yeah, Keir Thomas is a good player.
He's a really good player. But so you can't just say quit on all of them because you send the wrong message to next year's transfer portal kids. but so you can't just quit on them. But there are plenty of kids that maybe you can. I mean, maybe we need to see a few more kids in that secondary. Let's put it that way.
And I will say this: so look into the future, because we got to look to the future, because the present doesn't look very good.
It's hard to look at the present. Or can we look at the past?
Can we
just talk about the 2013?
Talking about 93 and 2013 and 99.
How about that Wake Forest game?
We could just come in and like watch along with the 2013 game.
Guys, I got a good one for me this year. This is 87. This is where we're about to turn
let's
things.
Just go to the 13 Wake game where they beat them. Was it 59-3? And they had like
back-to-back weeks of 59-3.
They had 2 straight defensive touchdowns on back-to-back plays. You remember those days?
Playing hangman on the sideline.
Yeah, I don't know. That was the Wake game.
That was Syracuse.
It was the other 59-3 win they had that year.
By the way, no good to do that.
I mean, it's
just
so
makes
fun.
Angrier.
It warms the cockles a little bit.
bit.
It's better than this Wake Forest game.
I mean, I do feel,
and I know people get tired of this because lately I've been doing a lot of comparisons to Florida State and Nebraska, and I started at the beginning of the year.
I'm getting a lot of. I get every time Florida State loses, I get about 3 or 4 emails from Nebraska fans.
Hey, imagine you didn't. Imagine if you had tweeted that Mike Norvell could coach back in August.
I'm not that dumb.
but I actually want to talk about this because, and I'll get into the reasons in a moment. But there are some things happening there, by the way, that I think if you're lucky, if you're fortunate, in a couple of years, we're going to start to see here.
I mean, I don't want to do this.
Hold on. I'll give you the reasons
in a couple of years, Florida State could be 2021 Nebraska.
2-2.
Oh, no.
You know, a couple moral victories hanging in there. Yeah. 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Seminole Headlines continues in a moment.
Hi, I'm Jeff, founder of Which Superior Sandwiches, and I'm here to tell you about our signature witch, the Wicked. Why call it the Wicked? Some say it's wicked tasty, some say it's wicked large. One thing's for sure, with oven-roasted turkey, ham, pepperoni, roast beef, and bacon, as well as your choice of 3 cheeses, it definitely takes you from wicked hungry to wicked happy in just a few wicked good bites. Only at Which Superior Sandwiches.
On Wednesday, the Wicked is just $5. 5 meats, 3 cheeses, $5.
When some slithery, slimy something shows up uninvited in my home, I want it gone now. Not next Tuesday, not tomorrow. Today. Pretty sure I'm not sleeping knowing that thing is crawling around in my house. That's why I call Paul's Termite and Pest Control. Here in Tallahassee, Paul's guarantees same-day service if I call before 1. Ants, roaches, mice, wasps, fleas, whatever it is, Paul's responds with guaranteed same-day service. Pretty sure I've never heard that from any other pest company. Guess that's an advantage to being a locally owned and operated company like Paul's Termite and Pest Control. They're here and make things happen fast.
We at Paul's know when you have some pest or rodent in your home, you want it out now. That's why in Tallahassee, we guarantee same-day service. You call us before 1, we'll be there before 5, guaranteed. That's our commitment to you. The health and protection of North Florida friends and neighbors is the reason we love our jobs.
For the elimination of termites or any other pests.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Paul's. We'll get them all. Learn more at callpauls.com.
I call Swain Pools and Spas. Now I'm soaking up the fun when I want to. I call Tallahassee Car Care and they're fixing my car when I want to.
Hey, what are you doing? This is a Swain Pools and Spas commercial.
I'm turning it into a Tallahassee Car Care commercial.
But Swain Pools and Spas is a full-service shop offering sales, renovation, supplies, and more for years.
And Tallahassee Car Care is a full-service shop offering brake and tire service, batteries, oil changes, and more for years.
But people go to Swain Pools for quality and reliability. Nobody knows more about pools and spas, and Swain has new Caldera spas in stock right now.
And people go to Tallahassee Car Care for their 5-star service at great prices, with most maintenance done by their certified technicians while you wait.
You know what? Just look for the big Swain sign on West Tharp Street, because Swain Pools and Tallahassee Car Care are under the same roof. Online at SwainPools.com.
Online at TallahasseeCarCare.com.
Swain Pools and Spas.
Warchant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. Get in on the action for free for an entire month. Warchant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription just by entering the promo code Warchant30. That's Warchant30. Get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code Warchant30. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Corey's favorite moment as I compared the programs, Nebraska and Florida State, and the hill that's left to climb. I did an interview today with a guy who covers Nebraska, and long story short, I'll get to the
we just heard the story in the break.
Yeah,
so
but long story short, so I have a buddy who graduated in Nebraska, so I kind of keep tabs on him. And bottom line is that debacle to start the year 4 of the Scott Frost regime, they lose to Illinois. They look ridiculous. It looks like more of the same. After the game, he says, and he's unflappable, they did some things we didn't expect to see, and we can't keep doing this. It's a broken record. It seems like we've seen this movie over and over again, but I promise you we're better, and we'll prove that. Okay, so everybody rolls their eyes, right? So this last week, they go to war with Oklahoma and have a chance to win the game.
Yeah,
and if their kicker, who was all Big Ten a year ago, is now 3 for 8 on the season, he can't hit anything. I mean, he cost them arguably the game. If he gets, who knows? So they're that close. So he said to the reporters afterwards is that I've been telling my team this, and I've been coaching them in this way. And at some point, I wanted to see if they believed it. And I tell them, I want to coach guys that when they take the field against anybody, they believe they can win. Today, I think they thought they could win. Now, we didn't, and that's not acceptable, but they played like they thought they were going to win. And there wasn't a moment where they doubted whether or not. When you watch Florida State play, Ira, to your point before the break, they never look like they think they can win. And they also get really unlucky, your snakebit point, Corey. I mean, Jayshon Corbin is as reliable as they come. They get a pick and fumbles right away. It kills them. The roughing the punter call is pure ass. It's not roughing the punter. And then the call on Jones out of bounds. These sustained drives and lead directly to points. You can't have that stuff. They're too fragile to handle that. They don't believe they're going to win.
But then that's the point when Corey brought up that receiver, the possession receiver for Wake Forest, made the tough catches. Mill, there's a conviction there. There's a belief there.
I'm going to go make this play.
I'm going to make this play. Or a 50-50 ball. I'm the other kid. I'm going to make this play. And the Florida State guys don't have that. And so that's one of my questions is like, how do you get that? And I asked Norvell today about, the identity. Like, because Kenny Dillingham yesterday said we don't have an identity on offense.
We don't.
And my question was, can you just determine, okay, this is going to be our identity, or does that need to evolve? And then you say, okay, this is what we can do. And he said, look, the identity of our football team is going to be, we're going to be tough. We're going to be hard-nosed. We're going to be disciplined. Because unfortunately, we're not showing any of that right now. So it's just words.
I think they're tough. I don't think they're disciplined.
Well, definitely not.
I think they're
definitely
not tougher.
Yeah. But when you looked at his Memphis teams, that's what they were, man.
Yeah,
they played hard.
Oh, and they came back in games they were down, and they never blinked.
So to the point, Nebraska is maybe that can come.
But it's taken him 4 years to see his team play a game where they felt like they could win, and they were seriously outmanned in that game. But sometimes, man, and this is where staying the course, and this is where having to start over and develop continuity, it's hard to endure as fans and for us as media types covering it, because you have to be dedicated to the long haul. You have to say, well, we're going to see a lot of tough losses. And they've got to stay the course and be something and just play to it.
It would also help to have a great player, not a good player. Jermaine Johnson's very good
Travis Hunter's going to be a great player in college football.
Yes, but hopefully right down the road from where we are. You know, there's again, I live up there half the time. He's about 32 miles from Athens, Georgia.
And he's an insanely gifted player.
But he's from South Florida originally.
But
he's originally from South Florida.
My point is for the next
you better be in Tallahassee.
The next 3 months, there's a lot of Georgia fans that go to that school. I'm sure half his coaching staff is Georgia fans. So there's gonna be a lot of pressure on him, especially the way Georgia plays. But why would you want to go play for those guys?
Be one of 20.
Yeah, you want to like the Beamer guy. Did you see that press conference?
Yeah, he was
like they got 105 stars. Yeah, Travis, you make 101 there.
By the way, that's a ridiculous question that he was asked about what they got.
What did they do?
Yeah, they just whooped the hell out of the guy in front of him. That's what they did. By the way, that's true of us every week. Now, can you imagine that Florida State offensive line? Once again, we're going to have to watch it this year. There's nothing to save us. Against Clemson, Florida's defensive line is not shabby.
Yeah.
You saw they held Alabama to under 100 yards rushing.
Yeah, hopefully they have some
What are they going to do to Florida State?
They might be banged up or sit some guys out for the SEC championship game or something. But going back to Travis Hunter, that 2014 defense was not very good here.
No.
The 2000 it didn't play hard.
No.
The 2015 defense played exceptionally hard.
Yeah, they played tough. They hit.
And my theory all along is the best player on that team was the toughest kid. And they took Jalen Ramsey's lead. They followed him, and they played hard and physical. Can Travis Hunter come to Florida State and be such a ridiculous athlete on both sides of the ball and believe he's going to make game-changing plays?
Yes.
And then make them.
Help.
He's not going to turn them into a 10-win team.
No.
But, you start seeing, when you see a guy make these exceptional plays and game-winning, game-changing plays, maybe that can permeate the other guys that are next to it.
That would help. They also number one priority, way above even above offensive line, because it's a quicker fix. They've got to figure out a quarterback. Whether that's whether it's Jack Cohn, whether it's
AJ Duffy,
whether maybe it's AJ Duffy, maybe it's Trevor Purdy. We'll see. Yeah. But they have to solve that, because if you don't solve that, man.
To your point,
Stetson Bennett at Georgia.
Everybody can relate to this if you played, high school sports, any sport. It doesn't really matter. And I'm not trying to do this because I played with the guy and all this stuff, but here's a true example. My junior year, we went 2-8. We couldn't do anything right. They changed quarterbacks. This freshman kid, Tommy Carter, ends up being our starting quarterback.
He turned out to be pretty good. That was a good decision.
Yeah, he was ungodly.
He was a freshman night last
Oh my God, he was the best player I'd ever seen. Tommy Carter walked in, and I remember within 2 practices, We're like, look at this son of a bitch. And every
you
game,
get confidence from that.
Every game from that point forward, we thought, well, Tommy will make a play. Yeah. And then that emboldened you to go make a play for him so that he could make a play. Yes, one guy
Travis
at that
Hunter.
position.
That's you,
change.
Travis Hunter. Well, you're not a quarterback, but you can make plays.
You also had a bunch of other college.
There was a bunch of other good players, but he was really good. Really good. Hour 2, headliner questions forthcoming. Hang tough. Dude, he was insane.
Megaphone at realtalk93.com to enter the keyword for your chance to win $1,000 in this nationwide contest. Money talks. Everything else can take a walk.
Money, money, I just can't get enough.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. The state of Texas is responding to the migrant disaster at its borders. Governor Greg Abbott is in Del Rio, where thousands of Haitians have been streaming into the state. He spoke just minutes ago.
And when you have an administration that is not enforcing the law in this country, when you have an administration that has abandoned any pretense of securing the border and securing our sovereignty, you see the onrush of people like what we saw walking across this dam that is right behind me.
Governor Abbott says the Biden administration still does not seem to recognize that a disaster exists on the border. Also at townhall.com, President Biden says it's important to remember the need to address human rights.
Will we affirm and uphold the human dignity and human rights under which nations in common cause more than 7 decades ago formed this institution?
The president delivering his first address to the UN General Assembly, Heritage Foundation fellow Brett Schaefer tells the Salem Radio Network he found it odd the president talked about the U.S. commitment to human rights and women's rights.
Completely ignoring the fact that he abandoned Afghanistan to the Taliban, a distinctly anti-democratic government that is objectively opposed to women's rights and the ability of girls to attend school.
Heritage Foundation fellow Brett Schaefer. Authorities once again searching a swampy preserve area near the home of the boyfriend wanted for questioning in the death of 22-year-old Gabby Petito. Her body was discovered at a Wyoming National Park over the weekend. Police in Northport, Florida, returning to the Carlton Reserve to look for 23-year-old Brian Laundrie. Stocks are higher now on Wall Street. The Dow up 42 points. The NASDAQ 47 points higher. More at townhall.com.
One listener that stands out that I worked with was this older couple that was interested in refinancing. They reached out to a few different lenders and, their credit wasn't the best. I know some of these other bigger banks, you just won't hear back from them, which I cannot stand. Not everybody has the 780 credit scores, and just because you don't qualify at one time doesn't mean that you'll never qualify. I'll walk you through what you have to do, whether it's 2, 3, 6 months from now. Back to that older couple, we worked with them for months and months to improve their credit, and we were able to get the loan done. We were saving them hundreds each month, thousands of dollars a year, finally got themselves into a situation financially that they can handle, and they could start saving money each month for retirement. End of the day, they just could not be happier, which just put a huge smile on my face.
We are United Faith Mortgage.
United Faith Mortgage is a DBA of United Mortgage Corp. 25 Melville Park Road, Melville, New York. Licensed mortgage banker. For all licensing information, go to NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Corporate NMLS number 1330. Equal housing lender. Licensed in Alaska, Hawaii, Georgia, Massachusetts, North Dakota, South Dakota, or Utah.
What's important when shopping at a gun store? Let's start with a friendly and knowledgeable staff. Then add top-notch service, great selection and pricing, and a personal shopping experience only found at a locally owned and operated business. At Red Hills Arms, they're right on target. While other gun stores come and go, Red Hills Arms remains Tallahassee's go-to local gun store for all your firearms needs. Stop by today and get welcomed in like family.
Many orthodontists in Tallahassee can straighten a smile, but at Birch Orthodontics, they're dedicated to providing the finest care possible. The experienced and friendly staff is trained in all of the latest techniques. So whether you need standard treatment like braces or Invisalign, or you have a more complicated case requiring extra attention, Birch Orthodontics is here for you. Set up your free consultation today by visiting birchorthodontics.com, BURCH orthodontics.com, or call 850-877-1692. At Birch Orthodontics, they create beautiful smiles that last a lifetime. Seminole Headlines is brought to you by Register Sausage, serving the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. To find a store near you or to buy directly from Registers, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com.
It's time for Seminole Headlines, featuring Warchant.com's Jeff Cameron, managing editor Ira Schofel, and senior writer Corey Clark. Your weekly dose of all things FSU, pistols, and pies starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
And away we go. Seminole Headlines, hour number 2. Headliner questions brought to you by our dear friend and supporter, Dr. Birch Orthodontics.
We love you, Heather. We're sorry
Appointment 2 weeks from now. My wife told me today, hey, I know you're busy in the mornings. Got to take Bryce in for an appointment. I'll be ready, Dr. Birch, when these appointments are over. You're doing a bang-up job. Your staff is outstanding. My kids' teeth are straight as an arrow. About done with appointments.
You can't. Here's the thing, though. You can't rush it.
You got to be resilient.
You can't rush it.
I know.
You got to go through. You got to trust the process.
Building a program, yeah.
Got to trust it. You can't rush it. You're right. Just got to go to those appointments.
You're gonna have a Nebraska smile in about
wouldn't that
another,
be something?
another year.
Well, I guess my point would be there are 2 parents in that household.
All right, we're gonna go there.
Yeah, it seems like she's not listening either. You can take a shot.
I'm just saying, I don't know that she's ever brought our kids to an appointment. I'm just saying, in the mornings.
That Heather has any problem with Christy, but I do know that like my kids would say, yeah, Dr. Birch was asking if you were here because she wanted to talk a little Florida State football.
Right.
And
I don't know that Dr. Birch wants to talk Florida State football with me
these days.
I don't know. That's a toughie. I mean, we might just hug each other. Just sit there for 15 minutes hugging, just like, oh my God.
Just a warm embrace.
Just let it go.
Then he might have other problems.
Just let it go.
No.
Her husband's a wonderful man. I know him very, very well. Just like, let's just stand here.
People will talk though in the orthodontist.
Oh, in that industry,
that's what they should do between the third and fourth quarters now. Instead of playing,
we just hug
the bandit.
We just hug.
Just hug.
Everybody hug.
Just hug the neighbor.
Just an embrace while they play the
eastbound and down.
No. Get rid of that. When the marching chiefs play that fourth quarter song, instead of sticking 4 fingers in the air, because we know that ain't true, just hug, man.
Everybody turn and hug one another. Hug it out.
Hug somebody you don't know. Like, you're all in it together. We're all in this together.
All 27,000 that'll be rolling in there on Saturday.
I mean, you're going to have to go to another section to find someone, but go hug them when you find them.
Are we back to being able to do stadium steps?
It's going to be close on Saturday, I think.
Games?
Anyway,
it was against Maryland.
BirchOrthodontics.com is the website. You can go and set up your free consultation. They're the best in the business. They do tremendous work, and they've got great customer service. They've got payment plans. Don't even think about going into a different orthodontist. Go to BirchOrthodontics.com.
I agree with that. Some good news for Florida State, I think. A lot of people have decided to book the UMass game because they know that's the one. They
want to be here for the win.
They could see the one win.
Do you think the 74 is it 73 or I think it was the 74 team that went winless? 73.
I think 73.
73. Yeah,
we'll look it up. Yeah. But either way, I think they pop a bottle of champagne if Florida State gets that dub.
Oh,
so they always want to be the only winless.
The only winless team. They're like the Dolphins.
So they're like they might be getting a little worried now. Like, okay,
they could. You lost to an FCS. Yeah.
UMass isn't an FCS school, so. Let's see if they can knock them off their perch.
Walter writes, I had us 4-3 going to Clemson, so I say we're good. Just a little 4-game win streak on the horizon. Louisville, Cuse, UNC, and UMass. Not impossible. Yay, sausage is the end of his question.
74, they did win one game.
Yeah, so 73, they were
1-11 for that ass.
Yeah,
that's a tough run.
Yeah, well, 1-21 over. But look, man, you're looking at a 4 and something here. 5 and something.
Carlos writes, now this is a tough week for questions, everybody. I mean, I just want you to know there's redundancy in these questions. There's a lot
but we understand, right? It feels like we're doing the same show we did last week.
But if I don't get to all of them, this is not a commentary on your question in particular. It's that a similar question.
We may have covered it.
Or an accusatory tone was in the other line of questions that I have just underneath yours. So I may just group them and move forward. So Carlos writes, did our offensive coordinator admit to not having a game plan against Wake Forest because they changed their scheme? Is that commonplace?
I think that was unfortunate the way people are reading it. I don't think that's what he meant. This was to me
why I say less is more.
Don't say that.
This wasn't
better.
This wasn't to me.
Not for him.
To me, this was not Jeff Bowden in 2000 whatever. Raining. It was raining. We our whole game plan was gone.
I remember going on the air with that one.
To me, this was more. He was explaining that they showed something they hadn't expected, and then we need to win one-on-one matchups. He wasn't saying we didn't have calls for it.
Yeah.
He was just saying we have to go win those one-on-one matchups. And then he didn't say that take the next step, which would have been to say, I'll finish it for him. We don't have anybody that wins any one-on-one matchups.
But he basically did say it. When you admit that at that point you call for man beaters. What are you saying? You're telling everybody your guys couldn't get open.
Yeah,
you're telling everybody that they couldn't get open.
Which is, again, I would change the way they practice. I would do 15 periods of wide receivers just going up and catching balls.
Well, I know this is the
I
other
don't need their hands.
aspect.
I don't need their hands to be in the perfect place on a block. I don't need you to work on that for 10 minutes. I need Malik McClain to get 80 reps a day jumping over someone and making a catch.
Well, I will say this.
Just ask Wake Forest what they do with their receivers that they can go make plays.
They do rep situations. They do rep situations all the time. They rep situations, and dudes just don't. I mean,
right?
What do you do?
You keep doing it.
But
yeah, that's right. That's right. You keep doing it.
Yeah, but you also, some guys you can rep it all day. It doesn't make you better. It doesn't make certain players.
Some guys. I think Malik McClain is going to be a player.
Okay, so you have one guy out there.
You got McClain, Pokey, Burrell, maybe Portier. Just have them do that. Practice.
Play him. You got to play him a bunch.
But get him reps in practice, and Jordan Young can throw the balls to him. You know what I mean? Like
Jordan Young?
Yeah, he can be the one that throws it up. So they're actually practicing. Jordan Young's taking reps from those guys. You've got to get Malik McClain ready to play. You just got to. And if that means
he's playing,
like making impacts.
But you have, again, a couple of things to consider. I don't disagree that seeing that youth movement and getting them a ton of reps and hoping that they get better as the year goes on, that's worthwhile. If you can't pass, bro, you're talking about plays down the field where they got to go up for a football. Man, good luck. I mean, he's going to be killed by the time they get open.
Talking about double moves. I mean, the Wake Forest kid just ran straight past Jarian Jones. That wasn't a shake and bake.
Wake's corners aren't letting our guys run right past them.
Yeah,
they're locking them up at the line of scrimmage. They're locking them up.
That's a whole nother problem.
Also, listen, I guess this shouldn't be so surprising because one thing that we did see all through camp was guys like Travis Jay just bitch these receivers on the regular.
It'd be cool if he did that.
Is he doing that to opposing receivers on other programs, teams?
Doesn't
appear to.
Well,
right? What's that tell you?
Yeah, and that's one of the complaints we get to the media. People will say, "Well, you guys said these guys look better. That guy looks better." Well, the problem is you're seeing them go up against each other. You would think that a coaching staff that's coached players at this, coach some players at this level, they've got to figure out whether or not it's
real. Yeah. No, I know.
And what can they count upon in ACC?
Fair question though about Dillingham.
Since this staff admitted Wake's defense was impenetrable and unpredictable, and they intentionally used the multi-quarterback system, are they just going to come out Thursday and say a victory over Louisville basically will never happen?
Look, no. You can beat Louisville, man.
You could
beat Louisville.
Vegas says that you could. I mean, what are you, 2-point underdog?
It's a pick 'em, sure. And that kid, they Louisville almost gave that game away.
Louisville's got quit in them too.
Oh, yeah,
tons
but
of it. Right now Louisville has confidence because they just went and wrestled the win away.
Everybody who watches our film says, "Oh, we got one here. We got a chance."
But
here,
also,
boys.
Florida State doesn't like. That's the whole thing. Is Florida State going to take that field thinking they're going to? Do they believe they're going to win? Because Louisville will. Inexplicably, they won that game on Friday night.
James writes, "Good afternoon, gents. Well, our asses are in the jackpot now. First off, I hope Sweet Pea is fully recovered from his operation."
I'm there. I'm feeling better. But the pain meds are helping. It's just Tylenol, though.
Okay, there you go.
I'm not giving the Sacklers any money.
When it's time there you go. When it's time to start counting down the days when we talk about a winning program in Tallahassee, like them tournament-bound number 2 seed for that ass FSU basketball team, is it time, is what he's asking. Is it time to start to do that?
Yes.
I don't know about you, gents, but this football team is giving me the early Hams days vibe. Good defense that keeps you in games or within reach anyhow, and an offense that can't capitalize on it. I really hope Norvell turns this around soon, but I'm afraid we're experiencing the early Ham years in football. But unlike Ham, Norvell won't have a decade to fix it.
Yeah.
Love the show. Go Noles. 50 days until basketball, everybody. 3 weeks into the season, and this is over.
Yeah, I wouldn't classify this defense, the Florida State football defense, as good, but they've been good enough to win these last 2 games. They were put in really bad spots on Saturday. Those 2 plays you mentioned, the horrible calls by the ref, then also your offense just keeps giving the other team the ball.
I do want to ask, and I know both of you will know this answer, and I think I know based on protocol from years past, but maybe something's changed. What is the recourse for Mike Norvell after those two embarrassingly piss poor calls? It almost seemed, I know Florida State does not get the benefit of the doubt because they've been an undisciplined program and they often are guilty of these infractions. But man, my man that called the one on the sideline couldn't see it and threw the flag.
Yeah.
You cannot abide by that.
Well, his recourse is you remember, that was a bad roughing the punter penalty.
Horrible.
But it was equally bad that Florida State got that break against Notre Dame and they called the running into the punter. Do you remember Brian Kelly's reaction to that? They almost had to stop the game because he lost his mind.
Yeah.
I think
did it help Brian Kelly?
I mean, his team rallied and they won the game and they believe in that dude. No, I just think when you're trying to build when a fan base,
man, they know he's passionate.
They
know he's passionate.
But you can. It doesn't hurt to show it.
Well, I think he showed it when he was pissed off about the Jordan Travis
made
injury.
Jordan Travis come back out.
Made him lay on the ground. Yeah, I mean,
that looked bad. It was another bad optic for Florida State because it just looks goofy.
Well, it looks goofy, but he's making a point, and I thought a valid one. But yes, I wonder. This is where I wonder.
How do you not lose your mind?
I would have lost my mind on both the Jerry Jones play and the roughing the punter play. I mean, that Florida State's A, not good enough to overcome it. B, it led directly to points.
What I would do, I mean, what does he make? $3.5 million? What is the fine? $10,000? It's like $20. Fining you $20.
I don't know that it.
But my point is,
officials moving forward.
My point is, in that press conference, yes, because he couldn't have seen it in real time. He probably didn't see him.
Well, he probably see the punter.
But he probably thought that Jarian Jones must have thrown him down. And when Jarian's like, I didn't do it, he's like, yeah, whatever, man. Probably. He didn't see it, just like the ref didn't see it. But afterwards, on Monday, you can bring that up and say instead of saying that's a tough judgment call, you can say it was a terrible call. Jarian Jones shouldn't have been penalized because he held the kid up.
As far as recourse goes, all they send in, they have basically an online database.
A long ass tape is what that's going to be.
They have like an online database where they submit, here's what we didn't like at this minute, this play. We'd like clarification, what happened there. And then the conference will come back and say, yeah, the guy screwed up, or it was a judgment call. That's what they get a lot of, is like with holdings and pass interference. Oh, it was a judgment call. But for something like that, then they come back and then they document it on the official, but they don't give you anything back. It's not like it does anything.
There's no repercussions either. The official doesn't get suspended,
but also, occasionally they do.
But not for that he won't. For scooting the ball forward, they might. But in the post game press conference, Ira was talking about how they played on the big screen in front of the 9 people that were there, mostly cleaning up. Clausen, it was a 5-minute press conference, but one of the questions was about all the penalties that Wake Forest got, and he said something really interesting. He said, well, when you play Florida State, you know there's going to be a bunch of penalties. Not like they commit a bunch of penalties.
Right.
You know your game is going to be filled with penalties.
The officials are predisposed to throw a bunch of flags.
And he's been coaching against them now for 3 coaching staff. Mm-hmm. Well, that's pretty. That tells you something, right?
So my guess is
it wasn't
that
like when you play Mike Norvell, you're going to get a lot of penalties, or when you play Willie or Jimbo. It's when you play
have
Florida
to change
State.
The narrative if you're Norvell, and they're not doing a good job of that. But it does kind of lend insight to the fact that the opposing coach is letting you know that officials have a point of emphasis coming into the game.
They know it's going to be officiated differently
because they're worried that Florida State or whomever.
Yeah,
it's bizarre. Chris writes, why do you think situational awareness has not been there so far this season? Obvious decisions like who should run the ball, running Milton on 4th and 2 is absurd.
Yeah,
bad. Yeah, on and on. What we can see it. Why can't they see that in the game? We were talking during the break. I don't know how you hear that in your headset if Dillingham calls that play for McKenzie Milton on 4th and 2, and how you don't in that moment go, whoa, what the hell? Like that, you got to override.
McKenzie fall down before the play.
You got to override that now. The all-out blitz on 3rd and 17 against Notre Dame. Whoa, Adam, what are we doing here, man? No. They're either running a draw or a screen. We're not going to blitz into that.
Or the call on the last down against Jacksonville State.
Yeah.
Whatever that call was.
So, I think
that's still up for debate whether that was the right call or not.
One answer would be that obviously you trust your coordinators. You hired them for a reason, and you want to instill in them
especially Dillingham because he's been with you for so long.
But I do think he's probably at the point, and we'll watch closely moving forward. He's probably at the point now where you cannot abide by that. You do now have to say, all right, well, I guess it's on me. Because ultimately, the buck stops with you anyhow. So, you can't, in order to try to make him feel better about being able to call plays, I mean, what are you going to lose your job? I mean, I would step up in that situation.
Are you doing Facebook or Twitter?
I started with a robust Facebook run.
Because I feel like there's some probably better questions on Twitter.
Robust, there was 3.
There were 4.
And how dare you, Ira? They got us through. The headliners were there for the good times. You know what I mean? Like they were there. They got us through 5 years of glory.
You talking about the Facebook headliners?
Yeah, the headliners. Yeah,
they're headliners on Twitter too. They're not like a subclass.
Well, it just sounded like you didn't appreciate those Facebook.
All right, rapid fire because we got to go to break, but I will get one more in here from Stuart. I'm a huge fan of the show, even if this team is terrible.
Thank you, Stuart.
What is your go-to drink during Seminole losses? I started out hoping to enjoy some Oktoberfest, but as the game wore on, I switched to bourbon. Unfortunately, this meant the Seminole pity sex really was a pity.
Oh boy!
If we
old bourbon,
if we were allowed to drink during the games, would you?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I think he'd be half in the bag by the second quarter.
I mean,
you can hear the angst and frustration and
sweet at that point.
Look, it's got, especially when I was just the third quarter of that game on Saturday. I'm like, what happened? How did our lives end up like this?
We'll all be better on the other side.
Door moments.
We'll all be better on the other side. Imagine 2026.
Yeah,
they're 9-1.
You're 60.
I won't be 60.
I mean, good grief, man. That's a long way away.
Seminole headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Hi, Chris Kraft for the Kraft Brothers dealerships. At Kraft Nissan, we've been amazed at the number of Toyota and Honda people trading up to Nissan's new family of SUVs. The changes are stunning. And don't just take my word for it. Motor Trend tagged Rogue as the 2021 SUV of the Year finalist, adding that Rogue can go toe-to-toe with Honda and Toyota. Well, guess what, Tallahassee? We can't keep the new Rogues on the showroom floor. Seriously, if you haven't seen one for yourself, come take a test drive and you'll see the new Rogue sells itself. In the 2022 Nissan Pathfinder, it's roomier, quicker, and better equipped. Plus, the second row seats easily slide and flip forward to allow access to the third row, even with a child seat installed. And finally, Car and Driver says savvy shoppers will be surprised by the new Armada's luxuriousness. So I encourage SUV lovers to come see the new Nissan family of SUVs. Everyone knows that Nissan SUVs have more standard equipment than the competition. The award-winning Rogue, Pathfinder, and Armada, only at Kraft Nissan, Mahan Drive, Tallahassee.
This is an insurance market alert from Barbara at Faircloth Insurance in Tallahassee. A few months ago, I asked you to contact your legislators to help stop the skyrocketing property insurance rates in Florida. Other states average 2 lawsuits per day on property insurance claims. Florida has 384 per day. The property owners of Florida are being taken advantage of, but it is not by the insurance companies. The companies are paying out 10 times the cost of a claim or more that would have been paid anyway. People are canvassing neighborhoods, knocking on doors, suggesting that the property owner may have some damage. The property owner innocently signs something that turns all control of any claim settlement to an attorney that becomes the person designated to get the claim check and who controls the disbursement of the claim payment. If we want these rates to go down, we must reach out to our legislators and let them know how unaffordable home insurance has become and that we want them to support reform that will fix the issues. This has been an insurance market alert from Barbara at Faircloth Insurance in Tallahassee.
When the forgotten poor are in need of healing, they wait for a ship unlike any other. Mercy ships, a floating hospital staffed by volunteers, heroes of mercy who donate their time to save lives.
Every human has the right to have a place at the table of the human race.
If you could just see the smiles that you get when lives have been changed, then it would make it all worth it.
To learn more about Heroes of Mercy, go to mercyships.org.
You went online to switch your car insurance to Progressive so you could save money. But then you saw a friend request from an old summer camp buddy. And now here you are, clicking through photos of his kickball team from 2011. Looks like they won the championship that year. Then he moved to Tulsa. Oh, a new tattoo. Yes, they said it was easy to save hundreds on car insurance with Progressive, but they forgot about the rest of the internet. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. National average savings by new customer surveyed who saved in 2019.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage.
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
So back to the headliner questions. Before I get to this one, I do want to say our thanks to our friends at Horizons Bar and Grill.
We love those guys. We love them. Good
their food. I love their food.
You don't love them.
I like them.
Okay,
but I love their food.
Smart.
Yeah. I like them a lot. They're good guys. I don't know them long enough and well enough to love them. But their food, I do love.
Their food has a warm place in your heart.
Oh, excellent. I'm going to get some, true story. I've got a business meeting on Thursday. Guy asked me, where am I going? I said, I'm going to Horizons. Let's go. I'll meet you there.
Make it happen.
You let everybody know where you're going to be on Thursday.
That's all right. Come on over. Say hello.
Yeah.
Buy me a drink.
The way I look, I would join you, but I can't go out like this.
You're so ashamed of your appearances.
I'm a monster.
You got to let it go,
I look
man.
like a monster.
You're not the elephant man. Hang in there.
Don't look at me.
When I was a kid, my dad took me to that movie, and I wept.
What
are you doing taking a kid to that film?
My brother took me to that when I was a kid. Yeah.
I was like, what are we
weren't
doing?
parented all that well.
No, really weren't. Took me to Jaws.
That was
I'm
the
9
least
years
of
old
the-
at Jaws. What are we doing?
That was the least of the ridiculous movies my brother took me to.
No, but the scene I couldn't handle, and I don't even know that I handle it well now, when they're beating him. They're beating
tough. You get to see that.
What are we doing here?
Yeah.
This is awful. True story, kids. If you want to see Elephant Man,
Yeah,
this is
great.
real uplifting. Good movie, though. All right, so Woody writes, why is FSU's offensive line, is all caps? And I'm with you here, Woody. Instantly injury plagued at the start of every season, no matter the players or the coaches. I'm with you, man. I was exhausted when I looked out on that field, instantly exhausted. I was mentally and physically exhausted. I'm tired of looking out there and not having the full allotment of starting offensive linemen 2 and 3 weeks into the season.
Every year.
I'm like, and listen,
in perpetuity.
It drives me nuts. And like, if you didn't know any better, and I do know better, so I'm not saying this is their problem, but I would understand if I heard somebody say, are we just bitch made on the offensive line every year that the first time you play a game, we lose 2 and 3 guys? Yeah. What is the problem up front? And that really is just bad luck. I mean, it has to be. There's nothing, because those guys aren't soft. They are trying. Nobody wants to be hurt. I don't think Robert Scott is opting out. I don't think Maurice Smith doesn't want to play. They are legitimately hurt. I don't think any of those guys are choosing to miss games and say they're injured. But damn it, man, it is absurd, the frequency with which our offensive linemen, of which they don't have very many good ones,
that's what I was
get
gonna say.
hurt.
The other teams have offensive linemen go down, but it's not the end of the world if one goes down.
God, one guy goes down. Oh, that's the season.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all. Thanks
Can't
for playing,
do anything.
everybody.
Can't even scheme anything up.
Yep.
We try. There's
Call it
nothing
a
we can
day,
do.
everybody.
Robert Scott's hurt. There's nothing we can do. Wake's too good.
It's brutal. What is the reasonable expectation of, quote, the standard, given the totality of this coaching, talent, finances, and administrative situations, including the boosters? If 6-6 wasn't good enough 2 years ago, what is good enough today? That's from Byron.
4-8. I guess the standard's slipping a little bit, Ira. Would you say?
You think that we've lowered the standard a little bit? The coaches
Mike
will never
Norvell,
say that.
he can survive with Mike Norvell can survive at 1-11.
Oh, yeah, that's a financial situation.
Yeah.
That is why that has changed. I mean, it doesn't mean that it's acceptable. It just means that he's not going to get fired.
Yeah, but like I wrote about over the weekend, 6-6 or 4-5, what Willie was when he got fired wasn't the reason he got fired.
Of course not.
It was part
Everybody
of it.
sidestep, but it's not why he was fired. The biggest reason he was fired beyond the
But
sorry
you know
record
what?
was.
Wouldn't it be nice? I get it. Yeah, we all know the stuff behind the scenes with Willie. Wouldn't it be nice if the guy you hired made a splash? Not a negative one where he hits his head on the diving board like Luganis and bleeds everywhere, but a positive splash.
Nice Luganis reference from
88,
right?
Yeah,
little Irish Chappelle right there.
I still got the Olympics on the mind.
If I had made that,
I know you'd have been killed. That's why I just dragged him.
I drop a Mary Lou Retton reference.
Yeah, but she's a goat. Luganis is a goat. But man, wouldn't it be cool if Norvell could have just impressed instead of more of this nonsense? There are coaches that go and win games.
Beat North Carolina.
Yeah, it was a big moment.
It was.
Remember that place was rocking.
Turned the program around. They're 1-7 since that win.
You just like to see some of those sparks.
Yeah.
Just knowing they're there, though.
They happen at other programs. I watch it every week. That's what we were talking about in the break. I get madder watching other games than I do Florida State because I'm like, why can't that happen in Tallahassee?
I get mad watching college football, even though I love the sport. Like, this would be a year where, seriously, the intrigue would be off the charts for a few reasons. Big picture and centralized to the ACC. It doesn't appear early on that there's anybody any good at all in the ACC.
No.
I mean, sweet Jesus. Clemson can't score more than 14 points in a game.
Yeah, at home against Georgia Tech.
Ridiculous. Every week they look terrible. And they got kids leaving and other kids complaining. Quarterback's dad is pissed off. I mean, lots of anger. It's beautiful. Like, they appear that maybe they're on the verge of
some cracks in the foundation.
Yeah, it's finally happening. They're looking at Dabo going,
Yeah.
They're not buying it. All right, so there they are, but we're in no position to do anything about it. They'll beat us like a drum no matter what they do to anybody else. You look, everybody thought North Carolina would be great. They get housed right off the bat.
Miami stinks.
Miami is awful.
Yeah.
There's nobody good in the Coastal. Virginia Tech just lost again. I mean, so you just look around the league. NC State, who I think is pretty good, losing that game to Mississippi State and really not even giving an effort in the second half. I mean, sweet Jesus, there doesn't appear to be anybody any good. Boston College has got injuries at quarterback. You've got all these guys, and we're not in any way equipped to do anything about it.
Yeah.
And then you take that out and you go, look, big picture. Ohio State's already lost at home. They can't get stops. Clemson's not the team we thought they were. Alabama could have just lost to Florida, didn't even rush for 100 yards on the road in the swamp.
Noles could be in the playoff this year.
No, I mean, I just point that this is a wide open year in college football.
Being 2-1 right now.
I'm not saying we'd compete for a national title. I'm saying for the first time in a while, it does look like both the hierarchy in the ACC could be challenged, and nationally, there doesn't appear to be a dominant team.
You talking about the dogs, though?
I picked them before the year began.
And that defense is
plus 800.
They still play Florida?
They do, man. They do all right. They'll do all right. They'll do all right.
I didn't know if they were still playing.
Hey, a little plus 800 action before the season on Georgia to win the national title.
Yeah.
Everybody's rooting for Uncle Jeff.
Their defense is something else.
Yeah. All right. So that was 3 questions from Twitter right in a row, Ira, just so you know.
Good work. They were good.
I feel like that was one question.
No, it was 3 in a row. A lot of these are here's another drinking question, guys. I mean, a lot of drinking questions from the Twitter folks today. I mean, how about Moonshine Monday, everybody? This the way things are going. Things that it's the only way we can forget all of this.
It'd be more fitting if you drank your own urine. I mean, that's what we've been doing for 5 years around here.
I talked about this one time years ago on the Jeff Cameron show. It's remember how when you were a kid, and this is just like what old people do, the crazy remedies. Old people tell you to drink your own urine, piss on your hands.
Not my house.
Whatever it takes, man. You know, you got the hiccups. It's just bizarre.
You got the hiccups, pee on your hands, and slap your face.
Yeah, it's amazing the things that old people used to say.
I bet, I'll be honest
hey, go
with
in a dark room and spin around 3 times and pee on your foot.
I bet that would work with hiccups. Because hiccups is all a mind thing, and if you distract yourself,
it's all a mind thing.
So if you pee on your hand,
Dr. Clark,
it is.
It's not a mind thing.
It is.
Your mind doesn't one day say, "Hey, listen, let's make him."
Hey, give me. I'll give you all the money in my wallet if you hiccup right now.
See if he can do it. See if he can do it.
So if you pee on your hand and slap your face with it, you got other issues. The hiccups don't even bother you anymore.
Maybe this FSU coaching staff should pee on their hands and slap their face.
Or slap each other.
Or make the team do it.
Let's go out to practice tomorrow and see if everybody's peeing on their hands and slapping their face.
I mean,
I'm taking Florida State plus the points this weekend,
would that not symbolize where we are?
We're
if
rolling
the team is
Big
just
River
peeing
now.
on each other?
I know this is late, but I'd love to see this happen. FSU football plays at North Carolina on October the 9th. FSU soccer plays Miami at home on October the 10th. Can we let those ladies play in Doak? Can we market the hell out of the game? I'd go watch it. Okay.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah, you'd get to see a win in Doak. Been a minute.
Very rare moment in time.
Well, like in Ted Lasso, where they thought the locker room was haunted, or the training room was haunted, so then they burned everything. Like
they have made sacrifices.
Norvell could come up with some sort of burning ceremony.
Yeah, burn.
But you can't burn the players.
No,
you're not, and you are the coaches. More likely, but something
some sort of sacrifice.
Yeah, just don't hurt the kids.
Jason writes, gentlemen, the poor decisions are piling up for Coach Norvell. And one that never made much sense was handing out raises, extensions to multiple assistants this offseason. Atkins, I get, but Marv? Thompson? What was the motivation there? And oh, by the way, is Demore Tate still on the team?
He is.
Yeah, he is. I mean, the extent the guys that got raises.
I like Atkins.
Yeah, the guys that got raises were Atkins, Woodson, and
Thompson,
and David Johnson.
Marv didn't get an extension?
He got a 1-year extension, I think. Some of those guys got 1-year extensions. Basically, but this would have been their last year. Those guys were on 2-year deals.
Yeah.
And it's hard to coach. It's hard to ask people to coach out a contract. It's pretty standard to at least have one more year on top of your deal. The only guys that got raises were 3 that have recruited at a really high level, and I think most people thought they should have got raises.
That might be the last extension for Marv. Just my personal opinion.
Right.
Just might be the last extension we see for him. What do you think is a more difficult job, writes Preston, being an offensive coordinator or a bamboo farmer?
I feel like there's some material with the bamboo thing.
So I didn't know anything about that. I'm not, I don't watch Planet Earth all that much. I'm not big into nature. Is that true? Like a bamboo, this was Dillingham, what he said on his press conference Monday, is that a bamboo, you plant, you do all the work, and nothing happens. Then overnight it grows 90
feet.
Does that really happen?
I don't know if bamboo grows 90 feet.
It doesn't grow 90 feet. It was a bit of a...
He was hyperbolizing a little. That's a word.
Right up your alley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it must shoot up a good bit.
The point was...
Oh, I'm sure.
Point was you just got to keep working it, keep fertilizing
it. You got to know at some
and
point that son of a gun is going to shoot up.
I'd like to know
Actually, he's not wrong about that. They're going to have to keep on keeping on at some point.
Oh, I thought you were going to say he's not wrong about his bamboo.
You think he was growing a lot of bamboo in Arizona?
That's what I was wondering. Where did he hear that?
He probably reads books.
Has he seen it in life?
He probably reads books.
Not the same, but I used to have to collect palm fronds to build thatch huts on the beach.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I used to collect all those things, drive around all St. Pete and catch all these palm fronds, throw them in the back of a truck, and drive them to the beach and put them together.
You were just stealing palm fronds. You didn't care whose they were.
They're dead. Once they fall on the lawn, they're dead.
You didn't own them.
No, I didn't.
You just went stolen.
People
you
were like,
looted.
"Going to take the palm fronds from my lawn?" Sure.
You were a palm frond looter.
They're like, "Thank God."
Oh,
you want to sweep the palmetto? You know,
but what does that have to do with the bamboo?
It's like my man that's took
you got to keep fostering. You got to keep fostering and building and growing. That's all you can do.
The kid that Jimbo signed that took the moped out of somebody's truck.
That was my favorite.
It wasn't
you can't
locked
just leave
up.
it there. What are you leaving that unattended? You deserve to have it stolen.
Isn't possession like 90% of the whatever that thing?
Yeah.
I mean, it's there. It's not chained up.
That was the best ever. It was sitting in the back of a truck. My man's like, "Well, I mean, you must want me to steal this.
Am I being punked? Am I being set up right here?"
I mean, sir,
this is entrapment.
I mean, if I didn't steal this,
I wouldn't hear the end of it. Who was that? Arrington Jenkins?
Yes.
Oh, we didn't have to do that.
Oh, sorry. Scratch that.
In case you're listening, Arrington.
Sorry.
My bad.
Yeah, that guy had it coming. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
The Tallahassee Police Department says a pedestrian is in serious condition after being hit by a car at the intersection of Capitol Circle Southeast and Dick Wilson Boulevard. The accident shut down the intersection for a couple hours. TPD asked anyone who may have witnessed the crash to call 850-891-4200. Florida's governor isn't happy that the Biden administration is now taking over monoclonal antibody distribution. DeSantis has made monoclonals a keystone in his fight against the latest COVID-19 surge, but supply is limited, which is why Health and Human Services said it was making the change, no longer allowing hospitals and treatment sites to order the early COVID-19 therapies directly. DeSantis called the change a raw deal and vowed to work directly with drug company GlaxoSmithKline to circumvent federal officials by purchasing its monoclonal treatment. The governor's office has said Florida needs about 72,000 doses weekly to meet demand. This week's allotment is less than half that, about 31,000. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Mac & More Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at macandmoresystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. More clouds than sun this afternoon with scattered thunderstorms likely. High temperatures reach up to 88. Winds out the west around 5 miles per hour. Scattered thunderstorms again tonight. Lows dip down to about 73, partly cloudy. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Tomorrow, isolated thunderstorms likely. Highs level off around 86. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 90.
Where is the best place to find Michelin, Firestone, Dunlop, Goodyear, and Bridgestone tires? Nice Tire and Auto Service. Where's the best full-service auto center? Nice Tire and Auto Service. They do everything from computerized alignments to brakes, tune-ups, and safety inspections. Where can you get complete auto service you can trust and easy? Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, just west of Capitol Circle.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
I bought this really nice pair of sunglasses. Anytime you look at your sunglasses and think, man, I'm doing good. I've had these a long time. Gone. Cheap sunglasses, you'll have them forever. But why does that happen?
I'll do you one better. I had a really nice pair of Oakley razors. Accidentally got knocked off of my head by my wife, and then she stomped on them.
I would do that too with the razors. With anything Oakley.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3.
Seminole Headlines is brought to you by Register Sausage, serving the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. To find a store near you or to buy directly from Registers, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com.
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Jeff, Corey, Ira, writes Kevin. I've been a listener since my freshman year at FSU, 2013. Such better days.
Wow.
Thanks for all that you three do to keep us entertained during the last 5 seasons of this dumpster fire. Yeah, we're trying, buddy. So how many plays away are we from being 3-0? When does basketball coverage begin, guys?
I'm going to say
21.
I was going to say 17, 18.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Specific plays?
Yeah.
You're really only 2 plays away in Notre Dame, maybe 3. And then, and then Jacksonville State, you're 1.
You're a bad snap away from beating Notre Dame. I really believe that.
Yeah.
I think they're going to go
and
win
then
the game.
you're inexplicable. I still can't believe what I saw defensive call away from being 2-0. And then, maybe 14, 15 plays go a different way against Wake. You're right in that.
2 horrific officiating decisions.
Yeah.
And 1
and some questionable coaching
very
decisions.
Unfortunate fumble at the beginning of the game.
And a partridge and a pear tree.
We can keep going. As much as it would have tested our sanity at the time, would the program have been better off just gutting it out with Willie Taggart until after the new president and AD were in place, then doing the coaching search? Or would we have been worse off, if that's even possible? Hashtag rock ass confused as hell.
I will say this, because I just had this conversation with somebody actually this morning.
I had this conversation with somebody the other day. That's interesting.
Was it each other?
No. That would have been good.
Hey, it was you.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. It's like Ricky Henderson recognizing or not recognizing John Olerud. Yeah. Hey, I played with a guy who wore a hat all the time, too.
Wore a helmet when he played in the
dumbass.
field.
One of the things that we get a lot on social media is like, why aren't you guys calling for this guy to be fired like you did Willie? I never called for Willie to be fired.
I did. Absolutely.
I did not. And I didn't think they were going to fire him because...
you were actually on record saying he's not going to be fired after the Miami game.
Because my thoughts were...
They couldn't afford it.
The money was a big problem.
Yes.
But then on top of that, you had a president who was about to be out of office and an AD who was probably going to be going with him.
All fair points.
Who had and those are the people, including the chairman of the board of trustees, those are all the people that hired Willie.
Mm-hmm.
So why are you going to rush this guy out, pay him all this money to have the same people hire his replacement before they're out the door? So to me, that didn't make any sense. But then when they did it, and then you hear all the things behind the scenes of the reasons they felt like they had to do it. Okay, I'm fine. I got it. I hear you. But at the end of the day, the same people were the ones that went and hired his replacement. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying like Norvell's not going to do it.
No, that they have to be accountable.
But
that is
involved
in that.
That's fair to discuss.
Do you want those same people making another decision at the end of this year.
Oh, no, listen, there's plenty of blame to go around.
Most of them are gone.
Yeah, most of them are gone. You got a new president, and I mean, we do need to get with the getting on AD here at some point, in my opinion.
We'll see.
I mean, Jesus. But that said,
but I don't think you'd be better off. I don't think they were not heading in the right
direction. You hire a different search firm?
Well,
maybe go a different route on the search firm.
But what I'm saying though is with
your
Willie,
money back?
The thing with Willie, it wasn't just a matter of not getting enough time. Like he and his first offensive staff hated each other. Him and his second offensive staff hated each other. Him and his defensive staff hated each other.
But I will say this: I think
so that wasn't going to get better.
And every recruit that came here went, "What is this dumpster fire?
But
and where do I go? I'm just standing here."
The question is about the program. I don't think the program would be in better shape if Willie Taggart was still here, but I don't think they'd be 0-3 this year.
Well,
because you'd still have Kendall Briles. It'd be 3 years.
You don't know you'd have Kendall. No, they were not going to coexist for another 2 years.
Maybe,
but also Kendall's offense.
But I mean, again, compared to this, and it would have been more stability. So I feel like your program.
They might have one win instead of this.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's not. It's
now. Here's the problem. That listen, it's not as if we can't and people can't be angry at this staff equally at the same level with the same energy that they were with Willie. Yeah, I get it. It's hard to watch this now.
Willie didn't have to make it worse, just like Norvell didn't have to go look like this through 3
games. And that's the other thing that nobody talks about that I wish I had mentioned in my column is that, Willie did have a better team than Willie inherited a better, it wasn't in good shape,
but
it was in better shape. He did have Cam Akers. He did have some players that this staff does not have. He had Brian Burns.
Oh, and also, again, we're starting over. It's like another starting over and another starting over. That's why you can't keep doing it because the next guy would come in and suck too. If he had to start from scratch again, we'd be complaining about him 2 years in because you have to have some form of continuity. Now, again, it's always worth debating whether or not it's a good idea, regardless that the thing looks like it's flying into the side of a mountain. If you want to fire a guy after however many games it was with Willie, it was 19, whatever it was. Yeah, you can debate. Even if you're behind closed doors saying, look, this is not going to work. We all know this is not going to work. Look at the mess we're in. Should we just start over now? That's a debate worth having. And it was had by the higher ups because
I guess the thing is like, I get that some people might be frustrated. Like, okay, how can you say how did Willie get fired after 18 games? And Norvell's record is going to be worse than Willie's after 18 games, probably a lot worse. How can you not then fire him? It's like,
we just gave you a million reasons.
But also like,
I mean, the money.
It's a difference. 2021 Florida State football is different than 2019 Florida State football. If you want to think it was unfair that Willie got fired after 18 games, that's a fair criticism. That we understand it, but that doesn't mean you just make another just to say, look, this is how we do. This is our standard. If you're not good after 18 games, we're going to fire you. You can't have a program like that. So you've made an adjustment, and you can even say, hey, maybe that was our bad. Maybe we fired him too quickly. We're not going to make that mistake.
But they felt like they had other reasons beyond the record, and that was and those things are not in place with Mike Norvell.
Yeah, much bigger reasons beyond the record.
Right
now, the ridiculous
nothing
decision,
was much bigger than the record.
The decisions in game and the absurdity behind the scenes and everything. Well, yes, of course. You know what I mean? Obviously, both are losing their ass. Yes, I'm saying, but when you're watching it, you're going, okay, this is bad, and there are no signs any of this is going to get better because of what we're seeing over here.
Right.
Listen, at the end of the day, they don't have a choice, and it doesn't really matter anymore how much people want to debate this. The point would be that they're not firing this guy. Now, they may ask, and he may want to make some changes at the end of this year to his staff. That may very well happen. There could be some guys on this staff that are coaching for their jobs. Sure.
This is going to sound like a joke. It's not. Could Travis Hunter be a player coach?
We got questions. We got other questions?
Can you do that with a recruit? Can you hire him as your DC?
Any other questions?
Gentlemen, how many blowouts by the defense?
But that wasn't a joke, though.
No.
Okay. Just want to clarify. It sounded like one, but you're...
No. I don't know why Jeff laughed. That was...
How many blowouts by the defense does Fuller have to achieve before he gets that promotion for Randy that he really wants? I kid, but seriously, how soon is Fuller a dead man walking type of coach?
It is a weird deal, though, because and I brought that up in my column that, maybe at the end of the year, you got to get a new voice or whatever it is. But to the point you guys made earlier, the defense wasn't the problem in that game, and it really was, and it wasn't the problem against Jacksonville State. So it's 2 of the 3 games.
But I mean, look,
it ain't good.
It's not good, and that play at the end of the Jacksonville State game is a fireable offense. It just is.
It's hard to get back from.
You can't. How do you unpoison that well? Plus, you did go up and give up a ton of yards, but again, they averaged 5.4 yards per play. You averaged over 6.
Yeah,
it's that you Your defense was on the field for 38 more plays.
I wasn't even
I don't
that
think the
upset with the defense
terribly
in this last game.
It's just that's the standard too. Like 35 and 500 to Wake. You're like, oh, hey,
and when they took their foot off, the gas.
Yeah, because that Wake probably could have scored 50 if they wanted.
Well, if you're going to keep giving the ball on every possession, I mean, every time Florida State got it back, they just gave it right back.
But yes, I would be very surprised, and we all like Adam. Be very surprised if he would still be if they don't pick it up record-wise and production-wise on that side of the ball. But he would be here next year.
Right. I will say this, though. I don't think that necessarily leads to sweeping success the following year. I mean, they have a long way to go here.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that Adam is the problem right now. There are plenty of things to complain about what Adam's done. But
this isn't a joke. This is a legitimate question. Do you go to Travis Hunter and tell him we're thinking about making a change?
No.
I'm not setting that precedent.
I think he's the most important recruit at this school.
I still don't know that Travis Hunter. I don't know if his WAR is 0.3. I don't know. I don't know that a cornerback is going to change
quarterback
a whole lot of
receiver,
anything.
and I think it's also what it says to other players. It's like what was Lamarcus Joyner's WAR in 2011?
Yeah, no. Listen. The good news is
he was on campus, and it showed that they could recruit 5-stars.
And it's really a shame he has to do it. But the good news is every time Florida State looks terrible, he goes online and tells everybody he's not going anywhere. I think he's coming to Florida State. I really do. Now, if they go 0-12, maybe it doesn't happen. But
if he doesn't come, we're going and calling him a liar. How dare you, Travis Hunter? What about that Instagram post? That's on there forever.
You're a dirty liar.
You're a dirty liar.
And a thief.
just start throwing
in. Yeah, no, I think he's coming, and I think it's important. I also love that he is that vocal about it because he's the ringleader for the class.
Yeah,
you just have to hope. Now, look, if you keep
this
losing
is unprecedented,
games,
right? If they go 2-10, 3-9, and land the number 1 player in the country,
it's pretty awesome.
Never happened.
This is unprecedented. Now that would be a feather in the cap of Mike Norvell and his
staff. That's what I'm saying.
It's
a really big deal, and that's why I wonder if you go and say we might make a change at DC.
It's important to know
you're on a short list, Travis.
It's important.
We're gonna probably
it's important to note this before we get a break. What it does tell you, though, what does that tell you? It does tell you that the staff has been forthright with this class.
Right.
Yeah.
It tells you that those kids aren't expecting to look out there and see a bunch of wins. Now, they may want to see something better than what they're seeing, but it tells you that they weren't out there promising 8-9 wins. That this group was expecting to watch this team lose a lot of games. That's the only way that they remain intact after watching this nonsense. We'll come back, wrap it up momentarily.
Hey guys, it's Greg Tish. You've heard me talk about Southeast Portable Buildings on my show in the past. Now I want to tell you about a new discount program available to everyone who is looking for a portable building in the very near future. If you order now and wait, you'll get a discount rate. Man, that's got a nice ring to it, doesn't it? If you're in the market for a new storage building, you can order now, get it later, and save money instantly. I can go on and on about the ways you can use a new storage building on your own property. Sure, you can use it for storage, but you can also turn these things into anything you can think of, like a workout room, a recording studio, a yoga studio, or a mini repair shop if you're a car enthusiast. And think about this. If you've been paying for a storage unit and you're throwing away that rent money, get a portable building that actually adds value to your life rather than being an expense. Go by and see Southeast Portable Buildings today on West Tennessee Street, just west of Capitol Circle. And tell Mike you want to order now and wait so you can get the discount rate.
Welcome to Tallulah Talk After Hours, your home for all things CBD. Tonight, we're talking about the benefits of CBD personal lubricants, CBD massage oils, romantic CBD scented candles, chocolates, and even CBD bath bombs. Did you know CBD lubricants can lead to increased sensitivity, resulting in longer and stronger experiences? What's left to talk about? Get yours today at Tallulah CBD on Market Street and now open in Betterman Crossings. Thanks for listening to Tallulah Talk After Hours.
T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those darn leaks. Call 850-766-1340. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark. T-SparkConstruction.com.
License number CCC 1331204. Jeff Cameron here, and mark it down. Wednesdays on my show, we're giving away which Wicked sandwiches. That's right. Tune in to the Jeff Cameron Show every Wednesday for your chance at a free Wicked 5 meats and 3 cheeses of deliciousness every week on the JCS.
Hi, this is Justin Colvin, founder of the Medicare Help Desk. I routinely speak to seniors who are overwhelmed by the multitude of coverage options available to them. That's why I created the Medicare Help Desk radio show. Tune in every Sunday at 11:30 a.m., where I provide clear answers to all your questions about Medicare.
These recruiting updates are nothing but fluff.
Are you wasting your time again on free blogs and social media to get the scoop on FSU recruiting?
Yeah, it's all bait and switch. You're on Warchant.com. What's really going on with FSU recruiting?
Could be another top 5 class, but for the real scoop, you'll need to get your own Warchant subscription.
What's it cost?
Free. There's a 30-day trial offer. Just sign up and you'll get full access through signing day. And nobody has more accurate and timely information than Warchant.com.
You know I like free. Sign me up.
Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole source.
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
So it's a home game. Corey Clark, I do believe, are we getting together on Friday, buddy?
Yeah.
Is that what's going on?
If you want to see this in person, this scar, you can come to Corner Pocket.
You should come look at it and stare at it, make him uncomfortable during the entire show. He loves it.
I like that you're going back to the CP after the bar fight that led to that.
Well, look, man, you got to go. I want to show I'm not afraid. It's like getting right back up on that bike.
We should do a speed round. Get through some of these questions.
Come on, Jeff, you're pushing questions, buddy. I'm telling you.
The thing is, we ask them for questions, and then we don't ask them.
And he doesn't even print them out.
He doesn't care.
He does not give.
Why would I print
iota.
them out when I have them right here?
You've always had a computer.
I don't need to print them out.
You had a computer at the old studio.
No, not the way that this works. This currently, I can see everything, including.
This is what 0-3 does people.
Yeah, we're quite falling apart. Ira and I almost hit each other before the show.
Are we actually Auburn now? I guess we're at the same crossroads again. Unfortunately, we're taking a road trip to Portland with no maps, no GPS, or driver's license. Thanks for helping with the pain. Go Noles and get right.
Man, it went up at Winston-Salem, which was one of the scenes of one of our close to fights back in the day. Wasn't it? We were going to the Wake
and
that
I was
time.
Completely in the right on that one.
I think I was in the
wanted me
right.
to cut over 4 lanes of traffic to get the exit. The reason I didn't get the exit is because you were on the phone instead of telling me where to turn.
Look, man, this didn't have to turn into a gripe session at me.
Sorry.
But I was up there, and the GPS up there is not very good for whatever reason. And so it was giving me my map things were giving me directions, but not the actual map. And I was in panic mode. I was like this coaching staff, like in 4th and 2. I literally
panic. What do we do?
It's like, I need the map.
Let's run the kid with one leg.
Yeah.
Just so
tell him to hop his way to those 2 yards.
Bull through that linebacker, McKenzie. You got to want it more than him.
Let's go. What happened to your heart?
Did you leave that in Orlando?
What did you do? Will the 2022 class be the savior for Norvell? Craig writes. If they stay intact, yes. The answer is yes.
You hope. And it could
be
be very similar to the impact Jonathan Isaac had on Leonard Hamilton's tenure at Florida
That's
State.
not a bad analogy at all. I think you're right. It's true. I mean, they have a chance to bring in a hugely impactful class in areas of desperate need. Now,
and it also,
it's
again,
still
one of the other
really
things,
light at linebacker.
Sure, but one of the other things with Willie is it's not like don't make that change if he's got the number 3 recruiting class in the country.
Well, because I think he was selling a quick turnaround, and then they went out and stunk.
So, but my point is, that's also another saving grace that Norvell currently has is the way he's recruiting.
Right.
And you don't want to lose that class. You don't want to lose that player. You don't want to lose the quarterback.
Sir Stewart writes, after a year of Mickey Mouse offense, are Norvell and staff getting hung up on trying to transition to show more or some proof of concept with where they want this offense to go? Is that perhaps why this offense feels so aimless and without identity right now? Well,
it is aimless.
I understand what you're saying. Like they're trying to showcase what it could look like, and they're doing it without players who can't execute it, right? Maybe. I don't think they wanted to have to resort to a Mickey Mouse offense. I don't think they wanted to just have Jordan Travis run around like they had to last year. And so they thought in McKenzie Milton, at least in limited access to him during practice, and of course, whatever film they had from a few years back at UCF, they thought, okay, we could transition some to the passing aspects of this offense.
And with Jordan too, they felt like they had seen progress out of Jordan.
Well, and it's crazy to see Jordan in practice look comfortable and throw the ball much better, and then get into games and rat trap instantly. It's unfortunate.
He was 5 for 5 in that game until the Hail Mary, where he inexplicably took a shot on a Hail Mary, and it was not a blindside. Kid coming right at him. Like, how does that That's why you keep getting hurt, dude. How do you take that hit?
Yeah, given the
pump fake,
given that they don't
quicker.
have certain things that they can do because of the offensive line and because of a lack of skill all over the field, you do have to settle in on something, and it might very well be something that allows you to perhaps shorten games and be an identity of sorts and play to it and just get better at it and then add wrinkles to it when you show that you can be somewhat proficient in that one area. I mean, there aren't a lot of good answers when you can't block. They do have to get healthy. They have to get healthy up front. And to that end, I mean, we don't know if they're going to play this weekend, but it did look like it could, from Norvell's mouth, right?
Yeah.
That he said that.
So Robert Scott was able to do some stuff today, and they thought that there was a chance he and Maurice Smith could have been back possibly last week. So you'd like to think they'll both be back this week. We'll see.
Rhino from Niceville says, I feel like you guys don't have enough avenues to receive questions for the show, so I started to post questions within my Register sausage-inspired recipes on Pinterest. The unfortunate part is that people are getting confused when I add a sprinkle of silver fox
for that ass,
a dash of sweet pea, and a heaping spoonful of sugar bear. That's you, Jeff. I'm Sugar Bear.
You're Sugar Bear. That's a good name.
Okay. Looking forward to seeing you guys for a home game at some point this season. I miss your musk. Hashtag Pinterest sausage for that ass.
Nice.
I wouldn't type that into Pinterest.
Yeah, that you make a
Pinterest
flag.
sausage for that ass. I don't know. Can we talk a little basketball? That's Greg. Other people asked very similar questions, Ira.
I ran into Leonard Hamilton yesterday in the parking lot at the Moore Center, walking into practice, and he asked how things are going. I said, a lot better for me than some people out here right now.
Did
and
he chuckle?
He expressed his concerns, but he basically just said, yeah, come by and see us. So we need to go head over to the basketball training center.
I have failed Leonard Hamilton. I was told to make a phone call, and I didn't do it. I got busy, guys. This team is really taking up all of my free time.
Yeah, just wallowing in it.
We got less than 40 seconds left in the show. We could just play music. I'm not asking another question.
We could, you know what?
Here's the question for you. Do they win on Saturday?
50-50. Toss up.
They're going to tie, go to overtime,
50-50. Could be.
Oh, man, if you're sitting in the stands on Saturday, that game goes to overtime.
And
all right,
50-50.
baby.
Free football.
50-50 going to overtime. You've seen a good one.
My prediction is either team gets down by 10, it's over. That's my prediction.
Good job, boys. Good job, Matthew.
You're not seeing Florida State scoring.
Be well, everybody. Deep breaths. Bye-bye.